I think this is that awkward thing where I'm live before I'm live. Like right now, I think I'm live. Yep, I can now see myself in the background. Get rid of the volume on myself in the background. Hello, everyone. Welcome to I heard they stream live 12. I believe this is the 12th one we've done. We are, I say we, and not just in the royal sense. I say we because running in right now, my man, my friend, Woj is coming in hot. Yeah, yeah, he's
Yeah,
here. You did, you made it.
kinda.
I was gonna vamp for a bit.
Yeah. I'm like, I gotta tell this dude. Yeah. Hold one
No,
second.
you do your thing. Welcome everyone to I heard they stream live 12, as they said. I'm a little worse for wear. Woj knows what I'm. Got like some crazy stuff going on at home myself, and Woj is obviously dealing with some stuff, as you can see in real time in the background. So we are very happy to be here with you. I'm very grateful for you, Woj, being here and taking the time to be here because,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a rare moment to escape from just the insanity of real life for a bit and talk about shit that does not matter.
It definitely doesn't matter. Can you hear me? Is my levels are good?
You're good. Am I good?
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
We normally do a little pre show kind of banter back and forth. But, tonight we just rolled in hot. Woj, at the top of the hour, I'm going to spring this on you. Joe
hmm
Nelson from the band Triggerman and Ignite is going to be jumping on the stream. If you are going to take off to do work, I totally understand at that point. But yeah, I didn't mean to spring this on you live on air.
Top of the hour, meaning 10 o'clock.
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
All right. I do have to jump off. Yeah, because I just for for you listeners in Radio Land out there, right? Like 10 minutes before this, I got hit with some work I have to do, so I have to get that done as soon as possible. So I will probably have to jump off at 10.
So that's perfect. This will work out great. We'll have a compact. It
Yeah.
won't be like last episode where we're just like rambling on forever. Like this will be, I got my old man fishing kind of hat on tonight too. Kind of.
Okay, you got your Parish Smith.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is like probably the ugliest hat, and every time I wear it, my kids are just like mortified that.
Nah, that's a little more like the one dude in the Odd Couple.
Yeah, exactly. Like Walter Matthau.
Yeah, Walter Matthau.
I got my Walter Matthau going on right here. But we are here today to talk about just things we're kind of interested in this week and things that have kind of like perked our interest in terms of music and pop culture. I guess off the top, any news or notes to get to?
Man, nah, I'm like pretty unprepared here. Like,
I heard there was a story that you might want to tell on air. You told me, but I don't know if
oh
that was true or
yeah,
not.
nah, there is. I mean, first of all, like since our last episode, um, Cold World played in Oklahoma City, and it was during like when flights were like crazy, like because of the government shutdown here in the States. And I knew from work, just like all my coworkers, their flights were getting canceled for, they would have to travel for projects and stuff, and everything was getting canceled at the last minute. And I didn't even Cold World stuff. I don't think about it until like the day before. Like I don't. For some reason, I just don't have time for it in my RAM until it's like time to do it. So then the day before, people are freaking out. Alex in particular. Alex is like extremely apprehensive and like neurotic and crazy about traveling these days. Like I think he hates traveling. I just noticed like whenever he's It just seems like he doesn't know what to do with himself. You know what I mean?
It comes from being a parent.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I could tell when this dude's not with his family. He's, it's almost like he doesn't like. It seems like he's not himself. Like he doesn't. It's really bugged out, man. But yeah. So I feel bad for him. I see him going through it. But so anyway, most of us were flying out of Allentown, which is halfway between Philly and Wilkes-Barre, and that's pretty much where Arthur lives. He lives in a town called Easton, which is right by Allentown.
Friend
So,
of the show, Arthur, too.
friend of the show, Arthur, a member of Cold World, and I hope this isn't boring, but it ends
Oh, I
hilarious.
love Coldwell stories so
All
much.
right, so actually, this is a good story. This ain't boring at all. Um, just the semantics, the setup is a little boring. But anyway, Dan lives in England, so he flies in from England. Me, Arthur, Alex, and Haroon all live in PA and New Jersey, and we were all gonna drive to Allentown to fly out of Allentown. And Skase was flying from Cape Cod, and our connecting flight was in Hotlanta, and then we were all getting on the same flight to Oklahoma City. Other than Dan, Dan got there already. So our flights got canceled from Allentown. So then we had to rebook from Philly. We were all afraid that there was just going to be insane lines, for the security and shit like that. So we got there on like extreme white boy time, like so fucking early. Like I got there like 3 or 4 hours before the flight. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like,
I know what you're saying.
because I'm like that. I'm just like, I don't care. I just want to get there. Like,
I'm the exact same way.
I don't care if I have to sit there for 2 hours as long as I'm not going through any crazy shit. Yeah, that's how I am with flights. So,
And I'm rolling hard on edibles by that point too. So I
oh,
definitely
okay.
just want to sit there and just chill.
So, I get there and there's this restaurant in Philly called Chicky and Pete's. It's just like this like sports bar type thing, and they're known for their crabby fries or crab fries. Maybe I'm saying crabby fries because of SpongeBob, but it's just like fries with like fucking Old Bay seasoning and this dip. It's nothing crazy, but so I'm like, all right, I got like 3 hours. I might as well get some fries, So I go through the security, and I'm like keeping my eye open because I'm like, I know this motherfucker Alex is here because he's acting crazy, you know. I sit down right when I order. Of course, I see him. I'm like, yo, Albert, and he comes and sits. He orders food. Haroon and Arthur get there eventually, and we flag them down. We're all chilling. We eat, this shitty. It's it's good for what it is, but whatever. Food, and we finally walk to the gate. As soon as we get to the gate, right in the little like hub of these like five gates is this like super good restaurant in Philly called Middle Child that Alex and I would have loved to have eaten at. So of course we roll up there. We're full of bullshit. We're like, motherfucker, we could have been eating here, like had a dope meal, So we're like pissed off about that. We're like in line. We start boarding. We see Arthur like at the desk, like with all of his like pedals out on the floor for some reason, rooting through his bags, doing all this crazy shit. And here he had like too many carry-on bags or something. So he was trying to figure out what to do. Meanwhile, I have like basically an empty book bag. Alex does as well. And we both know all we would have to do is walk up and just be like, hey, just throw a couple things in here. But we loved seeing him just struggle there. So we didn't say jack shit. He was up there for like a half hour, like going crazy. So, so we start boarding. I'm the last person in line. They all board. I scan my boarding pass. He goes, "Eh, eh." And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And I kept walking. They're like, sir, sir, sir. I'm like, what? What's up? They're like, can you scan it again? Eh, eh. they're like, something's wrong with your ticket, sir. I'm like, I mean, I don't know how. Like the rest of my friends who we booked our flights together, they just boarded. They're like, okay, let me bring it up. So basically, the dude's saying like, yo, your ticket doesn't exist, and I'm like, that's impossible. I have it here on my phone. Here's, like I don't
How
know
did you
what.
get that far too into the airport?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like security, you got to scan it, right?
mm, I don't know actually.
Like, I'm pretty in America. I'm like 90% sure that security you got to
Things are
show.
weird
Maybe
now,
you just have to
man.
show it. Maybe you just have to flash it.
Yeah, maybe. I forget.
Oh,
I
maybe it's
feel like
also I forgot the shutdown's happening, right? So those
yeah, the
people,
shutdown's happening, so stuff is weird. They're cutting
yeah,
corners, and I feel like when I go through security now, now what they care about when you go through security is that real ID. You
okay.
know about that?
No, what's real? It's like I thought you meant just like a real ID.
No, there's this new thing here called real ID, and it's like a ID that you if you don't have a passport, you need a real ID to fly. And people are now they're like charging you $45 if you don't have your real ID to fly. It's some new kind of ID. I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm seeing conspiracy theories about it. Of course.
Of course.
Yeah, but it's crazy because I sent away I paid for my real ID and it never came.
Yeah, it seems like just like a I don't know, like as a person not in your country, it seems like it might just be some sort of weird scam.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I have a passport anyway, so it doesn't apply to me. But anyway, yeah. So like, when you go to through security, they care more about your real ID or your passport. They don't. I feel like I haven't been asked for my actual boarding pass at security in a minute. But anyway, yeah, they're saying it doesn't exist. They're like, who booked the ticket? I'm like, we're in a band. Our manager Dano, book, either him or Skase. I was like, one or two people booked the ticket. I'm like, let me get the one guy on the phone. So I
They're like
get
Dan O. Skase.
yeah. So I get Dano on the phone with this dude. Dano is like, I hear him doing his thing, and the guy's like, I don't know what to tell you. He's like, I believe you that you when you rebooked the tickets that you rebooked this gentleman, but for some reason I don't know what's going on. His ticket just does not exist on my system. I can't find it. And so they're going crazy trying to figure it out. So meanwhile, I notice next to me on the side, there's these two guys like acting crazy, and I realize, oh, these two guys are standbys, right? So meanwhile, I'm also texting everybody who are on the plane, and also Skase, Dan, and Dano in the group chat that are on the plane, in you know on their way to Atlanta or wherever everybody is, and I'm telling them like, yeah, they're like, yo, what the fuck. So I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. Um, so yeah, there's so much to the story, but there's so much good shit from here on out. So I'm trying to
Go,
get,
go.
I'm trying to get it right. Uh, so the plane takes off without me, right? So, but there's a flight to Atlanta like 2 hours later or an hour and a half later, and we had a 2 hour layover. So I could technically make the connecting flight if they get. So of course, as soon as that flight takes off, Dan was like, "Why don't you call your guy?" Talking to the desk guy, the guy's like, should I call my help desk and ask them? He's like, yeah, dude, whatever you got to do. Like, I don't know. Like, we paid for the ticket. Like, what's good? So he does. And of course, as soon as he calls them, they're like, yeah, we got the ticket right here. And he's like, for some reason, I couldn't find it. So whatever. He rebooks me on the next flight. Next flight gets there.
Did they give you a meal voucher or anything?
They didn't give me shit.
Because you could have got that fucking restaurant if you had that meal voucher now.
Oh, but I was full of
Oh,
Chicky and
still, yeah. I
Pete's.
guess an hour and a half's not really long enough to like digest.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so anyway, we land. This is crazy. I text everybody. I'm like, yo, I made it. Like they're like, all right, cool. I'm like, man, for some reason it's like taking mad long to get off the plane though. People start, people like stand up as soon as they can to get off. Guy gets on the thing. He's like, "Hey, everybody, you might as well sit back down. I don't know how long this is gonna take. We just struck a truck on the tarmac." You know how like a little like buggy will come and hook up to the front of your plane and like drive it to the gate?
Yeah, kind of like tow it in.
Yeah, that thing hit a truck.
Oh,
Yeah. So I've texted them. I'm like, yo, I don't know if I'm gonna fucking make it. Like, we just hit a truck. They're like, what are you talking about? Dude, my plane just hit a truck on the tarmac. They can't believe it. So I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And then Skase is like, yo, like, my shit got delayed super. He's like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it either. So me and Skase might not make this connecting flight. Finally, they figure it out. We get off. I I I'm not gonna lie. I didn't run. I briskly walked to the connecting flight. I get there. The shit says boarded, closed. The door's closed. Me and like three other people pull up. Like, oh, what the fuck, you know? So there's this like mean woman who's there saying like they're not gonna let us on the plane, you know. Then Skase comes running up, dripping sweat. What's up? They're not gonna let us on. I'm like, no, dude, they're not letting us on. He's like, oh shit. Then all of a sudden, two pregnant and with child Karens come out of nowhere and bust in front of everybody, go straight to the front desk in true Karen fashion and start causing a ruckus. And they're like, okay, we'll figure it out. They're like, blah blah blah. They start opening. Like, I'm like, yo, these pregnant Karens with children just saved us. They're letting us on the plane. So then I noticed that.
you're like one of those fish though that like swims beside like the shark and just
Yeah,
eats
yeah,
the shit coming off the shark. And
yeah.
yeah.
Fucking yeah, whatever those are called. So I hear the woman, the desk lady telling the one Karen, the main Karen, sorry, ma'am, but we gave your first class seat to someone and there aren't any more first class seats. So you're going to have to get bumped back to coach. Right? Dude, I tell that, I put that in the chat. I'm like, oh man, this Karen just got bumped to coach. They're like, yo, that's because they gave the seat to Alex.
Oh no.
Right? So I'm fucking around saying, Alex, if you give this woman this first class seat back, you're dead to me. But in my mind, I'm thinking he'll definitely give it to her. Like, it's
Yeah,
Alex. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
How would he not?
Yeah. Well, guess what? He doesn't.
Oh
Bro, a pregnant woman with a kid, like like one in the
no!
oven
And
and holding one,
he's a dad.
and he doesn't say anything.
He's a fucking dad. Oh shit.
Yeah, man. So
If his wife finds out, he is so fucked.
dude, I don't know. Like I told you, he acts crazy now, man. So, because that's not the Alex I know. Like Alex would.
No, same here.
Yeah, yeah. He's bugged out, man. He's different now. He's in like survival mode. Like I don't know how to put it. So anyway, all this crazy shit happens. They get us on, and while we were, I don't know if it was when I was still in Philly trying to get on, or when that was happening. A few months ago, earlier in the year, you know how there's like the PlayStation Air Force One, like the Rockefeller Air Force One, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They made a Delta Air Force One, right? And we're flying Delta, right? This is Dano. Dano works in Delta, or like he only books Delta,
Yeah,
right?
air miles
Yeah.
wise. Yeah, yeah.
So there was this Air Force One that came out for like 100 years of Delta, and you had to be an employee to get a pair, right? But my coworker got me a link to buy a pair, right? So I bought a pair and they still never came. People are just now receiving them. But I have, I got the confirmation email. And just as a gag, like I was like, oh no, this would be funny. I like took a screenshot of the confirmation email and I was like, yo, you know what the most fucked up part about this is? And I sent like the screenshot of the that I bought the Delta Air Force One. The joke to any normal intelligence person being, oh, he fucks with Delta and they still fucked his flight up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that was the intended joke. A couple people hit it with the haha. That was it. It never got mentioned again. So the fest we're playing, our night was us. It was Judge, us. Well, we no, we headlined. It was Judge, some band called Sanction, a band called Peeling Flesh, and then us. But anyway, I saw Sammy in like the side room or whatever, and I just interviewed him for a project that I'm doing. So I went over and introduced, he didn't remember me, but we were talking, and then Craig Ahead walked up and joined the conversation, and I never met either of these dudes in person before. So I was like chopping it up with like Sammy and Craig Ahead, which is like fucking amazing. You know what I mean? Like look, everybody knows these guys, but for some reason, it's still cool to me. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
know. Every time I talk to Sammy, it's a buzz. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, and like, just think about the bands these dudes were in. Like all of my favorite hardcore bands these dudes were in pretty much. You know what I mean? So it was cool just talking to them.
For like a normal person, it's like getting to sit down and talk to like Keith Moon or John Bonham, right? Like for like the equivalent for what this would have been for people like in our teenage years. It's like, like he played in those types of bands for us.
Yeah. I would say like Travis Kelsey or what, because that's what normal people like, right? Normal people don't
Well,
know who fucking Keith Moon is.
I mean older normal people. You're right. Normal
Okay,
people
all
now
right.
would be like, yeah, like right, Travis
Yeah, you're
Kelce.
thinking of like your dad, you
Yeah,
know?
I'm thinking of my dad, who's not normal in the slightest.
Yeah, no. um, but anyway, like, it was sick and Craig, Sammy walked off and then Craig started telling me about his motorcycle and stuff. Oh, one funny thing that I did, we were basically like talking about like, because the people at this fest, like, it was like this was it was also like this at the Flyover Fest, or was this the Flyover Fest?
I think this was called Flyover Fest, wasn't it?
Okay, I don't know. Maybe there was another fest we played that was kind of like some Midwest type shit, and it was like the same kind of people there. Like they don't look like what we think of as hardcore kids, like everyone, they look like freaky. You know what I'm saying? Like just like the way, which is dope, like because it's just like anyone's welcome, and like of course that's what punk is anyway. But like just I just keep noticing that the archetype of hardcore kid is like going the way of the buffalo. So we're talking about that and stuff, and they're like, if Straight Ahead played, like would these kids know what that is? Or would people come? Would it be like this? And I was like, Straight Ahead, I was like, when I was these kids' age, Straight Ahead was like mythical. Like,
Yeah,
I was like, the way these kids are about whatever they nerd out about, our nerd out was, oh, everybody knows that, Richie's fist pump stage dive during the Cro-Mags in the movie The Beat is the coolest stage dive of all time. And everyone can recreate Gavin's stage skank from the We Gotta Know video. I was like, that, like we nerded out over what you guys did. So like everyone who stopped going to shows from then to now would come back for Straight Ahead.
yeah.
I was like, people would come here from fucking Europe and shit for a Straight Ahead show, And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get that. And then for some reason we were talking about like Straight Ahead's legacy, and something about Straight Ahead, like I was like, yo, it's still like very mythical. I was like, it never got reissued. I was like, maybe don't ever reissue that. I said that. And then of course I thought like, oh fuck, Sammy is like the head of Rev now. And Sammy instantly goes, no, 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 you should do it, man. I tell him all the time. And I was like, oh fuck, I just fucking hit a nerve, you know? And like in reality, it's like, I don't know. They should reissue it on Rev with with fucking all the extras and whatever they can. Like, fuck it. Who cares, man?
It'd be cool to finally see that the 12-inch come out with the comp tracks plus what's it Knockdown? Is that the like
Hmm.
unreleased song?
Yeah.
And already there's like another. Craig always has said he's got other stuff too.
Yeah.
I know there's live tapes too and
Hmm.
things like that. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if they did that as a double LP with the New York City Mayhem stuff too. Like just because there are representations of it, but it'd be neat to hear like an actual like cool sounding.
I mean, the fact that there's so many bootlegs that have come out of all that material over the years, and it's like the older I'm getting, the more that I don't give a fuck about being precocious and like fucking maintaining the mystique of shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, dude, other people made money off of it. You should be able to make some. And it's not that it's about money, but at least get like your version of it out. Everyone else put their bootleg out and made a buck out of it. At least you guys should present it how you want. Finally,
And
you know.
if it was like Knockdown, where like, and it's probably changed now, but like at the one time, like the only way you'd hear it was if someone gave someone that tape
Mm-hmm.
and then played it for you. But like if this stuff's all available on someone's YouTube channel right now, so like you're saying, like
Mm-hmm.
why not, you know, make a little bit of money off it or at least have that ownership instead of someone else making that money over it and like off
Mm-hmm.
it. And Craig's been talking about reissuing that record since like 1996 is I think the first time I met him
Oh
and
wow.
punished him about doing the
Mm-hmm.
straight ahead reissue. And he's like, yeah, you know, I just found a box in my mom's attic, you know, and I like, you know, I'm thinking about doing it. You know, people have been talking to people, and it, like every year, kind of for the next 4 or 5 years, I was asking him about it. So it'd be
So
great to see it.
so anyway, the story's not over.
Yeah, go
The
on.
the punchline of the story is coming, and it's all. So anyway, I'll talk about the fest. Like the fest was it was a 2 day fest. The next night I think was like Fiddlehead, Ended, some other shit. Our day had like those bands I mentioned, Gridiron, um, this kind of like rap, like hip hop hardcore band called Bayway. And I never really checked out before. A bunch of like tons of like metalcore bands that all sounded exactly the same, and to the point where me and Skase were like, "Yo, like I don't know how many bands played in the last like 4 hours. Every song sounds is the same tempo, is exactly the fucking same, and the same thing keeps happening. Like there's this new thing where like when the breakdown happens and people start going crazy, everybody goes woo like that. And
What?
it's dude, it's so fucking corny, man. Like, but anyway, yeah, and I was like, I don't know, I was talking to like the kid Lennon from he plays bass in Gridiron, but he's also in like Scarab and some other bands. I think he sang in Eco Strike. He's like a kid from Florida who lives in Philly, and I was just kind of grilling him about the current Philly scene, seeing what's going on and stuff like that. It's always good to get the lore. Anyway, and then the one band that played before us was this band Peeling Flesh. Have you ever heard of them?
No, they. So wait, Judge played like three before you.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
So I should really know peeling flesh.
yeah. And this other band Sanction.
No, I don't like. I must. I don't know. Like they're not. Are they? There must be younger bands. I mean, newer bands at least.
Yeah. Sanction actually I don't know how new Sanction are, but they were good at what they did, just that like super heavy metalcore
Yeah.
shit. And then Peeling Flesh are a slam band. Do you know what slam is?
Like the Onyx no.
No, slam is like a kind of death metal that it's basically like just like mosh parts and
So it's
the
slow, I guess, or like kind of like
yeah, there's blast beats and stuff, but mostly it's like slow, like super hard ass and all the vocals sound the same, like kind of like that band Demilich, like the like like
yeah.
that burping kind of shit.
Yeah.
And it used to be called the word that I got censored for the first time I was on
Okay.
Turned Out of a
Yeah.
Punk. That word slam, but in these
Okay.
days it's just called slam. So almost everyone who plays in these bands are presented in a this manner. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they all
Like
have fitted hats and hoodies and like football jerseys. Like that's like
so
they
it looked
all
like OLC kind of in like
yeah, but they're playing like
yeah.
you know. So like the new thing is like these bands are like playing hardcore shows like uh you know like that band Dying Fetus, like
Mhm.
they play hardcore shows like it's like what, but I don't know if they're even technically a slam band. They're just like death, you know, like death metal that
They're like
maybe like
proto slam. Maybe like a lot of slam bands are influenced by them, I guess.
maybe they like lean towards slam, but they're, you know, I don't know if they're technically, I don't know. I'm not like a metalhead. You know what I'm saying? I just like,
We need Arthur here.
yeah, we need Arthur, but he would, yeah, he's too political though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he knows these guys, so he can't really tell us what he really thinks. Then when the
Yeah.
camera's off, he'll tell us the real deal. But but yeah, when Peeling Flesh first started, like I was like, man, fuck this shit. This is stupid, man. Like they're like it's like their drums were like triggered and they had all these crazy samples playing and I'm like this is like isn't fair that that we have to play after this. Like first of all, like you know what I mean? Like we don't practice. Our singer sounds like a dying rat. And these dudes are like sound heavy as fuck and these young kids are like, "Oh my god." And also they're like I think they're a local band. So I
Yeah.
don't like you know like I don't
Hometown
know.
advantage.
Yeah, like so I don't know if like Peeling Flesh played a fest anywhere else in the country that they'd play over Judge, but here
Yeah.
they played over Judge. And
Yeah.
also, don't get me wrong, Judge got an awesome, great reaction. Like youth crew people came out of nowhere when they played. And I was like, oh shit. And like, you know, people, you know, so they got just as good a response as Sanction, Peeling Flesh, and us. So it's really like I look at it as like it's just co headliners. It wasn't
Mhm.
like a hierarchical type thing. But anyway, I don't know, like halfway through Peeling Flesh, I'm like, man, I'm kind of fucked with this. Just because it was like fucking a little different than everything that I was hearing. And like the singer was actually like saying cool shit between songs and just seemed like a genuine good dude and was just like saying how he appreciates playing the fest with all these hardcore bands because, you know, they're a slam band, but they love hardcore and it's what they grew up with and stuff like that. But he also said like cool political, nothing like specific, but just like cool political stuff. Just be like, yo, fuck all this shit. Like, this is where we stand. Like, fuck this, and this. I was like, cool. Like, at least it's said.
Yeah,
You know what I?
exactly. Like
Yeah,
at a place where it's not unfortunately always said and sometimes it needs to be said kind of vibe. I
yeah,
totally get what you're saying.
exactly. And I was just like, yo, it's cool that they're the band that said it. Like the fucking death metal band with all the crazy rap samples playing and stuff,
Yeah.
and they still said the cool like the dope political thing. Like, so I was like, yo, you know what? I fuck with Peeling Flesh. So they like really impressed me. Um, and we played, and I thought we were gonna suck, but we played pretty good, and our set was fucking dope. Um,
Yeah, you guys are kind of like the beat happening of hardcore bands, right? Like people don't show up looking for, like people don't necessarily like or like Ween or something, right? Like it is what it is, and that's what people
also,
love about
let's stay at beat happening.
it. Ween's way more successful than Beat Happening ever was.
Yeah, but
You know,
am I like the what Calvin?
Calvin Johnson, or are you the
Yeah.
Dean Ween?
I don't know. I don't know. I've heard Ween are
Hooch.
pretty cool guys.
Yeah, Ween. Like I probably punished you about this, but that Ween, those guys ran a crazy tape label back in the day
Mm.
and put out a tape comp which has John Worster's band Psychotic Norman on it,
Oh
and
yeah,
they
you told me that.
and also Social Decay,
Yeah.
and they put out a Social Decay split tape as well at some point,
Okay.
and maybe like a Hogan's Hero kind of split tape with Social Decay. I think maybe that's what it is. But
That's cool.
yeah, like very. I've been trying to get them on the podcast for a long time, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I got some good ones, as you know.
Yeah.
I got some cool ones in the tank that are coming up. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So anyway, we play. It was good. There was some after. There was like a comedy after show on like the side room, which is bugged out. But there's this
like
dude.
hardcore comedy specifically, or
Yeah, there's this one. The one guy, Chappelle Lacey, I think
oh
his
yeah,
name
Chappelle
is.
Lacey, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
He's been on the
Yes.
show, yeah.
Okay, so him.
He has a, if I'm not mistaken, an ETA tattoo
Hmm.
and maybe a tear it up tattoo too.
Damn, really?
Yeah, he's like super into deranged records. Like when he was on the podcast, it kind of like
Ah,
blew my mind. He's like, "Oh, I saw Fucked Up play when you guys played Arizona when I was a kid. Like I'm super into Career Suicide. I'm super into like
respect.
that era, like Havoc Records, direct control, government
Yeah,
warning kind of stuff."
dope. Yeah, I never met him, but yeah. So whatever, we play. We get back to the hotel room, and I was like, "Yo, it was cool, like talking to Sammy and Craig ahead and shit." And Dan's like, "Yeah, man, I was talking to Craig ahead too. I blew his mind. Like he couldn't believe that when I told him that Delta gave you a free pair of sneakers for fucking up your flight." I go, "Hold on. What did you just say?" He's like, "Yeah, I showed him that they gave you a pair of Nikes for fucking your flight up." I was like, "Dan, tell me how you think this went down, that they gave me a free, like, what do you think happened? I'm there at the desk. They're like, 'Sir, so sorry for messing up your sneakers. Urban type fella, right? How's about one pair of Air Force Ones on the house?' Is that what you think happened, Dan?" And I could just see, I mean, when you look in his eyes, you see to the back of his skull. But yeah, he was, I could see him just like, "Oh, fuck, yeah." He's like, "So what was that?" And I was like, explained it to him. He's like, "Oh." I'm like, "Dude," I was like, "What? So what? The guy behind me is a cowboy?" And they're like, "Oh, one, you know, pair of assless chaps on the house." Like, what the fuck, So Craig Satari, fucking straight ahead, rest in pieces, sick of it all, and Judge part time, youth of today, thinks I got a free pair of Air Force Ones from Delta Airlines.
That's awesome. You forgot Creep Division.
Oh yeah, Creep Division. Yeah.
Well, I like that Dan goes through this world with that sense of bewilderment and like
Childlike
excitement.
wonder.
Yeah, like they say when you're a little kid, it's like being on magic mushrooms, and that's why people do magic mushrooms as
Yeah.
adults, is because you can't, you lose that as you get older, and so he's still got that, and I respect
Yeah,
that.
a lot of people said the same thing about Jeffrey Epstein in that birthday book of his, about his childlike curiosity
Oh,
and wonderment.
definitely very different. Very, very different. I'm like on the record for that. It did lead him to get this. I'm talking the childlike wonderment that would lead someone to decide to get a fucked up tattoo, having maybe never heard fucked up.
No, no, he was a big fan at the time. I'll say that.
Okay,
Uh,
good. Yeah. Because I
but
thought I thought someone asked him and he said maybe he had the 7 inch.
Oh man.
I love him. I love him to death.
Yeah, I love him too, man. We're playing Wilkes-Barre in a couple weeks, and I'm psyched to see him, man. Like, I
You
love
guys
him.
are the pavement of hardcore. Like that's actually what it really is. Like
Mm.
it's like it is what it is. Like it's not like Calvin Johnson or Ween, which is like trying to like insert like a level of whimsy or something. Like I think Pavement is just presenting themselves as they are, and that's what they're doing. I feel like that's what Cold World is. The Pavement of hardcore.
We know no other way, man. Really, you know, I don't know.
Uh,
I'd love to present someone else instead of me, but I can't. I don't know.
I'm gonna write the liner notes for the record because I think the Pavement of hardcore is something that I want to put in the annals of history
That would be,
forever.
I mean, yeah, Alex is a big Pavement fan, so he'll appreciate that.
Yep. Pavement's going through a moment, and that's the thing that could happen with Straight Ahead. They could have a TikTok moment like
Yeah,
Pavement or Dystopia has experienced.
I could see that. I mean, any video of Tommy Carroll on stage, you know,
Yeah.
anyway, you could be able to think that that's cool, you know.
So like I think it goes back and forth, but I think like my number one, two, the breakdown Thompson Square Park show, and then the Straight Ahead reunion show, the
Yeah,
'88 reunion show, are like my two favorite videos to watch.
I love those. I love the one Killing Time one with all the insane stage moshing at CB's,
Yeah,
and I love this one.
Bad Brains '82,
Yeah, that one's yeah, that goes without saying. But
'79 one two.
there's this all out war video from like 98, I think, in I want to say like Albany. It's from somewhere upstate. And Marauder must have played because Saab is stage diving throughout the whole set. And they play they do their Cro-Mags cover, and this like dude who's like bigger than me, this chubby dude, does one of those like real punishing like stage dives where you just kind of like flop, like do one quick flop like as hard as you can on like the first couple people, and he just starts kicking and hitting back at him over and over, and they push it back on the stage. He just does it again like two more times. It's so fucking dope. And then it's such a good set, and then they get done playing, and the front of the stage, a garage door closes over the stage.
That's awesome. I also like the AF one where Roger I think's just recently out of jail and he's got the super long braided
Oh yeah,
ponytail and he's
yeah,
doing like the amazing like sort of like weird dance on stage and there's like the riot with the
yeah,
announcers.
yeah. He's doing like the kind of like JJ kind of like
Yeah,
swivel
like but it's like
type
a
thing.
he's doing something with his elbows where he's pushing his elbows with his hands and like
Yeah,
yeah, he looks
he kind of does that in like the In Effect video too, right?
yeah. I
Yeah,
think that was one of his dances, I guess.
yeah.
Not
Do
by the
your
top of my head.
dance, do your move. I love when he says that in fucking Last Warning. Do
Yeah.
your dance, do your move.
There I'm trying to think of other ones that are like classic videos, but um yeah, well we you know what? We probably should because you got to take off and do work. We should probably get to our
Oh
three
shit.
three things segment.
Damn, we went through 45 minutes that quick.
That was I kind of love it though. Like I kind
my
of love that
story
this
was my story was epic and long, you got to admit.
well, exactly. Your cultural obsession was this week getting to that festival and being at that festival and experience it. My cultural obsession this week is Cold World as always and the inner workings of my favorite band. Um, but should we get to our three things segment for this week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll start
Okay.
off with the easy one that requires not much explanation. I got this at a record store in Philly like I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. This is a first press of the first Gangstar LP signed by Guru.
Whoa. Rest in peace. Wow, that's fucking crazy. What does he write on it?
To DJ FN, One Love, yo. Guru Gangstar from Guru Gangstar. And
That's awesome.
and the record is it's like fucking minty too. It's dope. Um but yeah, so it's a quick one because I don't have any explanation. I just
Yeah.
found it. You know what I mean? But so there's my first thing.
Okay, my first thing doesn't have an explanation, but it will unfold. I got this Russian nesting doll at a store in Russia when we played Moscow for the first time, and there was like a store that sold all different types of nesting dolls. So I bought this one, and warning in advance, I didn't paint this, and I'm just the holder of the artifact. So
Okay.
okay, so it starts off.
Oh,
We have
oh mama.
Osama bin Laden. We open up Saddam Hussein.
Whoa. Is it Gaddafi?
Gaddafi.
Sick.
Oh no, Yasser Arafat. No, and then Mussolini,
Yes.
and then Mini Hitler.
Oh, mama.
That's the Russian nesting doll.
Damn, that thing's sick.
Yeah, it's insane. They, I assume it's hand painted,
Yeah.
but I did not obviously paint it myself or anything. So
I don't know. I heard on the streets you did.
no, I bought this and. And it's one of those things that probably my children will throw in the trash when I die.
Dude, that reminds me on the Fat Joe and Jadakiss podcast on the newest episode, Fat Joe's telling the story. He's like, I went to Lebanon. He's like, we did the show. These dudes came up to me and they were like, yo, they want you to come and shoot rockets. And I'm like, who? He's like, the Taliban.
Holy shit.
But anyway, yeah, that's that podcast I fucking love. Anyway,
that podcast is insane. Yeah,
it's absolutely so funny. Dude, I love Fat Joe.
Yeah.
So my second one is a bunch of items that I'll flip through quick. It is my Japanese wrestling manga collection.
Whoa.
These are like the kind of single issue joints. Let me make my things big so I can see. You got some Road Warriors action. Road Warriors, Baba, Kamala.
Whoa.
I got a bunch more. Hold on. Missing Link. Stan Hansen there in the blue. Yeah, Brody.
That's awesome.
Some more. This one's really sick. Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, that's crazy.
But then there are these ones, which are more like shonen style, which are like kind of like these like monthly or bi-monthly like magazine ones.
Yeah.
And they're like just full of sick manga and pictures and stuff. These ones are obviously from like the mid 90s. Road Warriors with a Power Warrior.
That's crazy. That's awesome. That's amazing. Those are awesome.
And this one has Masawa.
Oh, those are sick.
Yeah, just flip through. I mean, there's tons of like just like little funny, like it'll be like a bunch of like little funny things, like, and then like, you know, stuff with just like ill art with like, you know, you see Muda here. But these are dope, and they're also not expensive. They're cheap. Like over there, you could find them for under $10 each. But yeah.
Japan, yeah, you can get cool stuff like that in Japan. That's like I found wrestling programs there really inexpensive when I was there.
Hayabusa.
Oh, that's amazing. So is that like an FMW thing in
it
there?
It has everybody.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
awesome.
It's not, you know, because you know, here's yeah, it has, you know, it has everybody.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay. My next thing. I mentioned this trip that I went on to Los Angeles quite a bit on the show where I met Johnny Ramone and
Yeah.
One of the things we did, I went to Universal Studios, and they had a Marvel themed restaurant there, and so this is the menu from the Marvel themed restaurant at Universal Studios. That I think this is obviously pre Disney acquisition, but I think this restaurant closed like in the '90s even.
Hmm.
I went in there. The waiter would not take no for an answer that I wasn't the lead singer of Smash Mouth. And so I kept saying like, no, I'm not. And I'm also like 16 at the time. So I'm not an adult. Like I don't look like an adult. But it gets time to pay my bill at the end of the bill, and he gives me my lunch for free, and he goes, "The lead singer of Smash Mouth never has to pay for a meal in here."
Dude, if that was a guy fucking with you, he's so funny.
He's amazing. It was the best way to fuck with someone ever. I did used to like comb my hair. I thought I was combing it like I was a member of fucking Rock from the Crypt, but
Hmm.
maybe I look more like the lead singer of Smash Mouth
Okay.
style.
Yeah, yeah.
But this restaurant I remember being kind of decent, but there are like things like there's the mutant chicken,
Whoa.
there's champion chicken, bombastic bruschetta. Those aren't very cool names. There's better names in here. I think maybe it's on the entrees. Superhero burgers. There's a Captain America burger, which is an all American favorite with half a pound of fresh ground chuck, grilled to order, American cheese, Swiss mozzarella, or gorgonzola. And then there's like the Two Gun Kid cheeseburger, which is a very obscure Marvel character to have a cheeseburger named after.
Yeah, I don't even know the Two Gun Kid.
No, but I think I had the Incredible Hulk burger, which is a full pound of fresh ground chuck layered with fried onions and your choice of cheese.
Damn.
Yeah, and then I went on a bunch of rides.
It's
I had an iron stomach back
a
then.
pretty cool menu.
It's pretty neat,
Yeah.
and I like it's one of those things that uh like I don't think there's any real value in it, but I don't know how many of these were kept by different
Yeah,
people, so it's
right.
just like a random thing that I'm like for some reason of all the things that I held on to, the Marvel Mania Hollywood menu.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Um, I heard that that RFK closed that place down because of the mutant chicken.
Probably probably
My last thing, I posted this on my Instagram before, so if people follow me on Instagram, they've seen these possibly. But for a little while, I was electronic pen pals with Gary from Discharge, who actually owns a store called Kong in England, which is like a streetwear and sneaker store. So we kind of connected on that and just kind of kept in touch. And one time he was in New York, he stopped by the store I was working at, and we just hung out for like an hour, and he brought me these. They're Discharge
Oh, fucking cool.
drumsticks.
That's awesome.
He brought me four, so a set, you know, without anything, and then he signed a set as well.
That's awesome.
Gaz.
Yeah. Are you gonna one day play with the unsigned set?
No, no way.
Yeah.
I cherish these, man. They're so cool. And dude, the one thing that I had that I lost that I wanted to show on show your three things was my Randy Achita guitar pick, and I lost it. So if any listeners have an extra Randy Achita guitar pick and they want to sell it to me, slide in my DMs.
Damn. Where'd you get that? When you were in Japan one time?
No, I bought it off somebody. I forget who and when, but it's just like on one side it's like the ESP guitar logo, and on the back side is just like I think it might have his autograph, and it has like the Gizm machine gun logo.
Oh, that's fucking sick. Okay. I got my three thing my I got some DRI, like I want to show my DRI 7 inches
Okay,
for my final three things.
nice,
So I got Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, the Dirty Rotten EP, the 22 song EP on 7 inch,
classic.
right? The original one. And then I got Violent Pacification, right? Which a lot of people have. I think this is the first press version. There's like two pressings of it. I think this is the first press version. But this is what's more interesting. So this is a DRI test press of Violent Pacification, but the B side isn't the B side of Violent Pacification. It's a mystery record that I've never been able to figure out who it is.
No.
Yeah. And I've got a couple weird records that don't play the B side they're supposed to play, which to me is always such a bizarre mistake to make, because when you look at how to make a record, like, it's a lot of effort to have the wrong plate in there, right? And so this record, I haven't Googled it in a couple years, or looked it up, but like, I used to not be able to find out what the matrix was on it. Like, nothing comes up when I searched it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember Cooch was over at my house one time with Cece, and neither of them recognized it. And it's a hardcore song, got like a really cool long intro. But yeah, it's not DRI. I asked DRI about it. They didn't know about it either.
What the hell?
Yeah, a real mystery record.
DRI didn't know about it?
No. They were like, "Can you send us a photo of it?" So I sent them a photo. And they're like, "We have no idea what the deal is."
So that test press like didn't even make it to them. Like it was rejected by the label.
Yeah, or the pressing plant. Or like,
right.
the pressing plant made it for
realized they fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. I bought it on eBay one time, and it was like the guy listed what it was, but
So when he listed it, did he say that side B wasn't DRI, or did he not know?
he said it wasn't DRI.
Okay, so he knew.
He knew. And then so I clicked on it, and I'm like, and I bid on it. Like, test press was such a great thing to search back then, because like,
yeah,
no one bought test presses, right? Like,
yeah,
or really cared. So I was like able to pick them up for a song and everything.
Damn.
But yeah, that was like one of the cooler, weirder ones I got back then, and it's a mystery record.
Yeah, that's
like,
really cool, man. Wow.
There's like, yeah, like one of those weird things that I'm like always like, I should look it up on Discogs, because I haven't looked it up on Discogs, as I say, in a few years. But I used to like check once in a while the Matrix number and see if it popped up for some record.
I'm trying to think of like how else you could find. There is no way you could find out, really.
No, like, I guess contacting the pressing plant and hoping that the guy was still, whoever was in charge of that project.
No fucking way.
Yeah. Like, maybe someone was like, "Fuck, I want to have a split with DRI," and just like made themselves a record split, like a one-off type thing.
Yeah, I mean, if the band doesn't know, there's no way to find out unless you somehow hear that song. in the wild.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. Part of me, that's why I always want to have a radio show, because I'm like, there's a bunch of records I have that I have no information on. There's no Discogs, no Google search for this band. And so I'm like, I want to have a radio show that can play them and have selfishly a hope that it reaches them, so I can find out what the deal with this group was, or this song was.
Yeah. Make a reality show out of it. Put them back together. Remaking the band.
I just want a radio show to justify all these records.
Make them walk to Junior's to get you cheesecake.
Yes. No way, man. We all know how that one plays out in real time now.
Man, I was just watching that documentary.
You watched the documentary? I gotta watch it before they take it down.
Yeah, I'm 3 episodes in. It's crazy. I mean, it's very one-sided. They leave out, like the Biggie Pac episode, they leave a lot out. You know,
there's
from the other. Yeah, for sure. I mean, 50's a demon. The craziest thing is Eric Sermon is one of the main people interviewed in it, which I'm like, damn, that's crazy, bro. Like, Diddy's gonna get. I mean, you're gonna see him again in your life. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So
everyone's acting like this is the end, but I think Diddy's gonna come out and really want to get back out there and start making magic happen. Did you see that bullshit AI that went around of him like hugging people in prison, smiling, and it's like the most obvious AI, and all these people are being like, "It's real, it's real," and then it's like, no, it's AI.
Damn, I didn't realize that was AI. I think that's the first time I've ever been gotten by AI.
Well, there might be a couple, but there's one that I saw, which is look pretty obvious AI, of him and two other guys like all hugging and smiling.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Oh, that's the one. Okay, yeah. Apparently that's AI.
Damn, I'm a boomer. All right, your man's.
You got to jump,
on, right? Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, great to see you, man. Woj, good luck with work tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace. All right, Joe is here. Joe Nelson is joining us right now.
Hey, hey, what's up,
Yo,
buddy?
what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you doing? Are
Good.
you like in a polar vortex up there? What's happening up there?
It's gotten pretty cold pretty quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like it. Well,
I got chaotic. It's like a chaotic time in my house. It's freezing cold outside. You know, what better time to hop on and talk about punk records?
yeah, perfect. It makes sense. Glad to be here.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good, man. It's been, it's a busy week. It's a busy week for us over at Trust Records, and I'm yeah, I head out to the Punk Rock Museum on Friday to celebrate SNFU. The Belky brothers are going to be there, and Ty Stranglehold's going to be there, and a bunch of people. It's gonna be really cool, man. It's too bad you couldn't join us.
I know. I'm living vicariously through everyone that is going to be there because like there's also doing a set with Chuck from Good Riddance playing bass,
Yeah, yeah, that
and
would be fun.
yeah, I'm really stoked because like I don't know if I like would say that I've like know them super well, but I've gotten to know them a little bit. Certainly Mark
Hmm.
over the last little bit and talking to him, and it feels like a band that like there really wasn't sort of that proper closing chapter. Like that record won up here the Heritage Prize, but there was like no reissue for it. There was like nothing for it. So to
Right, right. I
see,
know.
see them have this kind of moment where they're like getting to kind of soak it in a little bit. I'm like so grateful that you guys kind of have them having that.
Same, man. It's funny you mentioned the Heritage Prize moment because there was talk, like we knew about that. Like we took over that record when we partnered with BYO in like 2021, right? And we knew about the Heritage Award, and there was talk about trying to push that record up. But I was really wanting to get the Diane Arbus photo cleared, which was the original cover, as you know. And to me, it seemed like let's try to do it right then rather than rush it because we're not going to do two versions. And but it was talked about because I knew that was a big moment for him. But to your point, dude, I'm happy. Like I'm happy for those Belky brothers, especially Mark. Like I talked to Brent the most at the beginning because he was kind of the person who Sean Stern from BYO was talking to. But I've gotten to talk to Mark a little bit, and I kind of feel it's been a little healing for him this release. Like I just feel like he's just been living his life, and all of a sudden he's like, looks around, he's like, oh shit, like I'm a fucking great guitar player that everyone really likes, and my music's cool, and this record's a classic, and like I don't think he's like had thought about it that way, man. So I'm excited to hang with him.
Yeah, like and I think it's pretty public. It was kind of like a sad ending, especially like their involvement in the
Yes.
band, and then ultimately a very tragic ending with what happened with Chai Ken. Yeah, like I feel like this is sort of that healing moment that you're talking about where he gets to kind of like look back on this career, not necessarily as this sort of like painful chapter in his life, but appreciate it for what it is for so many other people, which is like this sort of
Same. And just to add to that, then we'll move is when we part of this deluxe package, this book is about 103 pages book, 104 pages of a book. It used to be 60. Then it became that hardbound, really cool, all this rad, photos, all the stuff you're gonna be stoked on to see, handwritten correspondence from Chai, all that. But in it, we got to working with Ty Stranglehold, who'd worked on an oral history of SNFU that never came out, that was really robust. And we partnered with him to pull that oral history to be the kind of the thread. He'd already asked all these guys and had quotes from Ken, you know, and Mark reached back out to us. He signed off on it. He reached back to us almost like a day before we were supposed to go to press and goes, I'd like to change my quote in this so it's more positive. He's like, can we be done? And we're like, yeah, yeah, but it was interesting to me that he had signed off on it 6 months ago. You know what I mean? But sat with it and sat with it. Seems kind of Canadian to me to just be like, you know what? I don't want to bother anybody. Like,
yeah.
I'll just suffer. And I'm so glad he changed it because I don't think it was that negative to begin with. But I understood what he was saying because to your point, like he was focusing more on the ending rather than the beginning, and that's what we're celebrating.
Yeah, like I feel like yeah, I feel like especially this record is like so highly regarded for people and almost it's like it's weird not in a nationalistic sense, but like just in like sort of a Canadian sort of like that's where you're from kind of sense that this record is sort of the great Canadian hardcore record after the DOA record. And like I know some people
100%.
that would argue that they like this more than the DOA record. Like I kind of
Okay.
I think you can like both, but like I feel like this, the Subhumans, the
Oh
DOA
yeah,
LP,
I agree.
that's probably the top three, right? Like
Yeah,
first.
I mean, you would be the expert, but to me, yeah, I mean this record, it's so, obviously I've been with it now quite a bit, especially this week. I've been listening to it nonstop on all the streaming services and listen to how cool it sounds and how great those songs were. Like, dude, those guys wrote those songs, some of those songs in 1983, 84, like record came out 85, but that set had been curated those first couple of years, and they're so Mark Belkey's just a shredder of a guitar player, and Brent's
Yeah.
good too. And obviously Ken's an amazing frontman, like one of the greats. We argue it for that era of hardcore and punk rock. Like, yes, HR is the greatest. We'll give it to him. But Ken's like 1A. Like, Ken
Yeah.
is right there. And you can make an argument that Ken's even greater at times because Ken's was great for a little longer period of time, not to disrespect HR because he's the king, but he's a really important person. And SFU is an important band. And I'm stoked that we were finally able to get this out after working on it for 4 years.
Yeah, like I think him and HR, it's like always it always comes up in that conversation when it's like who are like the best, like who's the one and two. And I think in a lot of ways they're almost like the Canadian Bad Brains, like not to because obviously Bad Brains have such a huge cultural significance that's unique to them, but I think in the same
Yeah.
way SNFU has a cultural significance in Western Canada in a way that's unique to them, and like kind of like the experiences that Chai had and like the experiences of that band at that time is uh is really significant. And like I think what they did as a band, like I feel like yeah, they are the Canadian Bad Brains,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
closest thing we have here.
Agreed. And to be, I grew up in Southern California, so I saw them quite a bit, and I saw them pretty early on. Like I saw them in 84, I want to say. Like I saw them early. And they were influential down here. And just part of that record, like I said, I've been listening to a lot, and the parts, there's a lot of straight edge hardcore bands that came after them that borrowed some of those riffs and borrowed some of that stuff. Like there's, like Gravedigger's got that breakdown part that is so like, it's you hear that in all the hardcore bands that kind of came after it. So I think they're influential in ways that people don't even realize.
Yeah, like I think you're right because I feel like, and it wasn't, and like I bring this up in the episode with them, like I never really put them in that skateboarding mid '80s context where like Thrasher loves them so much, and they are like a skateboarding band,
Yeah.
and that wave of straight edge kids, particularly California straight edge kids, like you know more about this than I do.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of it's coming out of skateboarding. Like a lot of it is like sort of like informed by skateboarding and that sort of like early skate rock kind of stuff early on.
Yeah. And then I think that everyone from the Southern California scene, like Uniform Choice, instead, that era, all saw SNFU early and multiple times. And so they were part of that. To us, they were always kind of in the same mix of 7 seconds. And kind of the BYO bands were all kind of our bands, right? So,
So when you saw them, was it with Youth Brigade, Uniform Choice, and Rude Awakening?
yeah, man.
That's a fucking sick show.
Yeah. Because I'm a Uniform Choice guy. Like I grew up by those guys. So I went to a lot of all the early shows. Yeah.
Is that Rude Awakening band from Connecticut? If I'm not
The thing
mistaken.
is, I don't remember Rude Awakening. I'm
Okay.
gonna be real honest. I remember SNFU that night because I think that shows at the Flash Dance, which was a Orange County club, is pretty small, and I think no one ever heard of SNFU. And then after that, everyone had heard of SNFU,
Yeah.
and I could not wait to see them again. Like I probably saw SNFU like half a dozen times in my life in LA, and then instead went on tour, and I was their roadie in like the late '80s. Like they played some shows, and just SNFU were with SNFU, and SNFU just were every time just brought every time delivered every time. Like there was never a show where you're just like, well, that sucked. It was always like every show was unique because you didn't know what Chai was going to do. He was such a fantastic frontman. Like, so every show, with the anticipation of watching them was hyped up because he was a guy who would deliver the goods every time.
Yeah, because when they went down and did that run of shows, they did 2 shows in Arizona. That show that you saw them at, and I think they do a San Diego show too.
Yeah, probably.
That was to record the LP. So that the only thing they had
Yeah.
out at that point was the song on the Something to Believe in comp and the something on It Came from Inner Space. So
Yeah.
yeah, like really like a completely unknown commodity that you would have been seeing at that point.
And so we were like that's a record we were hyped to buy. Like, you know what I mean? It was the record. I bought it as soon as it came out, and I saw my copy not too long ago. It's worn to hell because I played it so long. I have a backup copy that's more mint with the Diane Arbus photo, but like that one, the one I listened to is like just destroyed.
So would you have gotten the Diane? You would have gotten the Diane Arbus photo version, right? Like that would have been in circulation around.
That was my goal because, you know, the thing with Trust Records and something that was kind of our mantra to start with is it was always going to be first pressing edition. So whatever it is, the artwork, the packaging was going to be at least the first edition, the first pressing. Because especially with like labels like BYO, like artwork changed quite a bit. You know what I mean? And so as SNFU, I was so determined to get that Diane Arbus photo that, and I just kind of felt like, okay, we have a mission of good because of who Diane Arbus was as an artist and her kind of, those who don't know about her, just investigate her work and just Google her. Like she's a revolutionary photographer and a righteous woman who passed away in like 1970, 71 of a suicide. Um, but her photos are they're very human based, and she was very like about people. And so that photo that's on the cover of the first pressing of the kid holding the grenade, that's Diane Arbus going into Central Park and just seeing this kid playing and getting this image that's so striking. That picture was taken in the like mid 60s, late 60s.
Yeah.
That kid looks like it's from like World War II, like, you know?
Yeah, this one.
Yes, it's so haunting. And so the cover's so amazing. So I was determined to do it. And I just kind of felt based on who Ken was as a human and his lyrics, which are so, you know, right on point with how I think Diane Arbus would have felt as a human and her beliefs. Like, you know, Ken's talking about homophobia and sexism, all that shit, all the righteous shit early. And so I kind of made this pitch and we tried to go through, there's an estate that runs her stuff and it's curated by, I think, the MoMA in New York. So it's one of those things where it's like different angles and I would give up and then I'd meet someone and go like, oh, I have a friend who works at the, they're good. We'll get it done. I'm like, okay. And then we were like, hey, we'll donate money to a charity in her name. Like what we want is the art. And at the end of the day, just to end the story is, she was so non-commercial as a person. It's just who she was that her estate can't ever budge from that. And I get that working with freaking Al Baril. It's the same kind of thing. Like I know Al Baril, like I'll honor Al Baril because like, and I think that's the same. And at the end of the day, we just kind of were like, I respect, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
well, we understand and it just gives that first version a little bit more freaking mythology behind it, I guess.
Well, it's funny because then there's like the second version is like the drawing version.
Yeah, yeah.
Which growing up, this was the version that I knew because this was the Canadian pressing, right? So this is the one. For years, I thought this was the only version, and like when I would see the photograph version, I would think, "Oh, that's just another drawing." For some reason, I'm not seeing it right. For some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
an
That makes
illusion.
sense. That's the charcoal version.
Yeah, exactly. Like it just was not. It didn't compute.
Yeah.
Then so there are like, I guess there's the 4 distinct covers of the first press, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then some reason, well, I guess because Santa Claus is on the cover. I always thought the UK pressing was a Christmas edition, but have now been informed that no, it just coincidentally has Santa Claus on the cover and is red.
Yeah. I mean, it was a real debate internally and, you know, about what cover to go with for the reissue, the standard reissue. And we chose there was a real argument. Greg Jacobs, who was brilliant in curating this whole deluxe package for us. He's the guy who really got in the weeds and got all this great ephemera and artifacts for us. He really wanted to go with the hand, like some sort of drawing of it. And I just kind of felt, I don't know, man. I just felt like let's move away from it. We chose like one of the rarest pressing covers, which is that one with the kid and the gun and the parents behind it. Has kind of a classic, almost like a 60s vibe to it. We just went with that one because we liked it the best. And we kind of felt we live in this digital streaming world that JPEG would show up better on your phone than that drawing of the mutilation and stuff. Like it's on there now, which is like, if you look at it, you're like, I know what it is, but most people are like, what is this? Like,
it's a mess. And like hearing the story of how they acquired the artwork, it does not seem like a lot of thought went
no,
into that drawing being chosen.
it doesn't. I think that's how they kind of rolled for a minute. It's like,
Yeah.
I think they're kind of like, yeah, whatever. And it seems how they are kind of now. Both Brett and Mark have just been like, whatever you guys want to do.
The
It's
album art
fun, guys.
the album art you guys went with actually though, that was Chai's design, and that was his original, obviously pick for the cover. So
Yeah, yeah. Though that thinking went into it as well. Like it just, and that's always what you're trying to do, is you're trying to honor Chai. Like it's he's not here. We can't. He's really the soul of the band, obviously.
yeah, it's sad, like the whole way it played out. Like I got to see them not until later, but I did get to see them kind of the tail end of them at their height of their powers. So I
Yeah,
feel like I got to appreciate that. But then I saw them again a little bit later on, and then of course he kind of toured right before he passed away, and I feel it was one of those sad things that unfolded right in front of people in sort of real time. Like
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Sam Sutherland, who does the Blink 155 podcast, but wrote a great book called Perfect Youth about the history of punk. There's like a great chapter in there about SNFU, and he has to get in contact with Chai for it, and it's all about him calling I think it was the Cobalt was the bar, but calling down to the Cobalt and like leaving a message and then waiting for Chai to kind of come in, and that was how he had to communicate with them for the interview.
What's crazy, I hadn't seen Ken in person since I was a kid, really, like early 90s. Maybe it was the last time I saw him. Maybe they're on a Warped Tour in the 90s, but whatever. But the last time I saw him was at a punk rock bowling. Like, I didn't recognize, like I was taken aback, because I was like, oh, whoa, like that is Chivig. I mean, that documentary that's floating around about him that came out, like, it's very sobering. I actually, punk rock documentaries are hard, and there's a lot of them, but that one, because of who Ken was, that one resonates a little bit, where you kind of feel the kind of with a lot of artists, there's that fine line between genius and madness that they are tapping into to get this incredible art. And he's the quintessential guy to be walking that line, as long as he could, And one thing I'll say about Chai Pig, the last thing he ever recorded, that Cement Mixer song that you see on YouTube, is unbelievable. Like, that is one of the most haunting, powerful things. It gives me the chills talking about it right now. So he went out doing some great shit.
If they had a Canadian label on Painful Reminder, I feel like that song to me sounds like, and this might not mean very much to you, but sounds like of kind of the world that Tragically Hip was in at that time. And like, there's no reason
maybe
that song couldn't have been, and Tragically Hip up here, like that's our Springsteen.
Oh,
right?
those are your guys.
Yeah. So like, I feel like if in another world they could have been, like a mainstream Canadian act at a time.
I agree. Well, and then look, isn't that everyone we talk about, everything we're championing? That's all the story, all these original seeds and originators. They never taste the desserts. They're always the ones carve the trail, and then they make a mistake that the other band behind them avoids. That's just how it is.
I don't think with SSD there was ever, I don't know, maybe How We Rock. Maybe there's a universe where How We Rock becomes like, like a mainstream rock record.
Maybe. I mean, I think they thought so.
I feel like slowly people are turning the corner on certain, like, I feel like Into the Unknown is appreciated. Like, I know people that will say that's the best Bad Religion record to them. I think they also mean that.
Yeah, I get it. It's like saying I don't like Bad Religion. This is what I like.
That's kind of exactly what it's kind of.
I don't. I always liked all the weird shit that happened, and I hear what you're saying about SSD. Like, they're like all the weird shit that happened in the 80s. Like, it makes it kind of interesting, because all these people going like, now what? Like, we did it. Like, we do our hardcore band, and now what do we do? Like, we're still playing music, but it's hard to write like hardcore after hardcore after hardcore, like albums worth of. It's really hard to do. And I will say the credit to like SNFU is they never really did that. Like, they just kind of, their songs kind of went the same direction and expanded and got or the word, but like, the next record after this is actually my favorite one. It's Where You Catch No Fish. Like, I love that record.
Which is an interesting record to kind of find out about the making of, because
Yeah.
those guys were both really checked out of that record.
The
Like the
Belkies.
Belkies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they recorded the next record in Edmonton, and they said they both were holding down jobs. So they were like they were going to the studio and just kind of like laying down their parts, but like they weren't really as involved as they were on any of the other records. And it was really the rest of the band that kind of put,
Yeah.
the hours in to kind of shape that thing a little bit more compared to the other stuff.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I've heard that. Like, I mean, yeah, complicated band, but complicated. That's the thing so great about that era of 80s hardcore and punk rock. It's like, it's all interesting and weird and unique. I mean, SNFU, the brilliance of it is it's so like topical and relevant, but it's done with humor, which is so rare. Like She's Not on the Menu is like, that song should be a fucking hit. Like it's right there being a perfect pop punk song. But the lyrics are outrageous.
Yeah, I feel like talking to like Graham from Homefront, like it's a real Edmonton kind of thing to have, like, especially because the stuff that Ken kind of had to suffer through growing up in Edmonton, being kind of a different kind of kid, uh, from people just rolling up and beating the shit out of you, where you had to kind of like use your sense of humor almost as a weapon, and like
100%, yeah.
Ken's
Well, and
was
that's
just
one of my
real.
pitches. That was one of my pitches, starting to interrupt,
Oh,
to the Arbus estate was who Ken was
yeah.
growing up in Edmonton, Alberta in the late 70s, early 80s. Like, it's insane. Like, it would be so hard. So like, and then his lyrics, I sent an email with outlining him with, here's some of his lyrics. This is what we're talking about. This is who he was as a person. This is what he went through in a town that was, pretty rough, roughneck, I guess, up there. Oil town, dude. It's no different than being in like the middle of Texas here in the
Yeah, it's
States.
like it's very Austin, comparable to like Austin in a lot of ways, but like maybe not as much pride in being weird. Like I think that's
Yeah.
been fought for by people over the years. Great music. Like that's the thing. SNFU to me is coming out of like a really strong small tradition of like great punk records, and they're, I think Mo Berg, when he was on the podcast, talked about like them being like the band that kind of came, them being the sum total of everything, and like them
Yeah.
being like the ultimate product. That's the thing about SNFU. It's they're around at an interesting time for hardcore because they're kind of after the gold rush a little bit, right? Like
Yeah.
post 84, things are kind of changing, but they're at a time when the people that know that band like love that band. Like you talk to Joe from Rise Against, like
Yeah.
he will die for that band.
Yeah. Or even like all the and the guys like that came with, they toured the West Coast a lot. That's kind of the run, which is kind of crazy because that'd be like from going from California to New York, but coming from Edmonton, they would come down like that Seattle scene. There has a huge love for SSD. The other guys who come, like the Brotherhood guys and that kind of crew, they love SNFU. They love them. You know, it's influential all the way down the West Coast. I can't hear you.
Sorry, that was me on mute. I feel like that's the other thing is they are weirdly more of, and I guess because Edmonton's proximity to the West Coast, they're more of a West Coast band than they are an
Yeah.
East Coast band. Like they did East Coast tours, but they did so many, and especially early on, tours of California and kind of like that part of the country
Yeah.
that they, I think they're more of an influence on bands from that side of
Yeah,
the
I,
U.S.
I agree. What's also the time they started touring? They started touring pretty early in the 80s. And, I was thinking about this today. Like, it's about how, tour routing for hardcore punk rock. Someone should do a really great book about how bands toured from, say, 70, 80 was DOA's first tour, I think, right? DOA to Black Flag, and how the circuits changed because, it's no secret that SNFU, the Stern Brothers, when they did the Another State of Mind tour, saw SFU. SFU actually played for him, opened for him in Edmonton. I don't think Edmonton's in that movie, right? Are they not in that movie? Well, anyway,
No, I don't think they show.
they show
That's the
Calgary.
Yeah, they show Calgary, but I don't think they do the Edmonton stuff. And I think, or maybe they do Edmonton in like a montage.
Maybe, but they don't show
Yeah,
SNFU. But it obviously left an impression on the Stearns, and then the Stearns, and then that tour went, north, comes back down the East Coast, and for a while that was a route that the bands would do. You would go up the West Coast into Canada, go to Edmonton because of what SNFU did, and then make your way down to Toronto, and then come back in the States that way and play a couple. And then eventually that changed, and it became people didn't tour. Like by the time I started touring with hardcore bands, late 80s, early 90s, you didn't go that route anymore. You just did. You went like Denver and then Rapid City South. You did this U.S. thing and maybe dipped into Toronto,
Yeah.
which those other towns, that it's weird, but that's just kind of how that stuff worked. Promoters went to college or got jobs, or the scenes kind of died. But the one thing about bands like SNFU, like they are Edmonton, like that's the Edmonton band. I remember bands would go on tour and they would stay at Ken's house even when he wasn't there. He'd be on tour. Like I remember Uniform Choice did it on their first US or their first North American tour. They were at Ken's house while he was on tour with SNFU in the States. He's like, yeah, you can stay at my house, which is crazy. Like I would never be that accommodating to anybody.
I feel like that's like definitely like the sign of a true lifer in punk, where you're just like, I'm just going to trust this person. Like I have complete faith in this whole system that people can stay here when I'm not here. It's interesting. It's interesting you brought up the thing about the route changing, because you're right. Like it kind of changes, and I feel like that opened up a lot more Canadian bands to start touring coast to coast around that time. And so there's this whole like wave of Canadian bands that never toured America. They just would tour coast to coast instead.
What's like that? Yeah, it's like that. It's like I don't think the Vancouver Subhumans. Is that what Subhumans are from?
Yeah.
I don't think I know they played the state California. But I don't think they toured the U.S. Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel like they did.
They I know.
Maybe later,
they might though. I think they did East Coast. I don't know actually. Now that you say that,
we gotta look that up. But those are the kind of bands that because I love that record. That's one of my favorite records.
Incorrect Thoughts.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's one of the greatest of all time. Oh
yeah, and it's like that's a band where you're just like you hear that and you're like, well, why isn't this band like bigger? Like why isn't this a record that everyone's putting up with the classics?
Yeah.
But yeah, hardcore touring. That era of touring is so unique, and someone really needs to do a deep dive on it. If it's not a documentary, some sort of book of just how that worked. I would love to see maps of the routes. Like I would love to open a book and see like this is DOA's first tour. Here's a route of what they did and where they played.
Well, I feel like it's until Book Your Own Fucking Life, and that's the next great leap forward in terms of booking, because that gave everyone access to the network. Like you didn't necessarily have to be kind of handed it off at that.
That's true.
As before. And then of course the internet is the next leap forward after that, which changes everything again. But people like still weirdly like I say people fucked up weirdly still does that kind of coastal routing of a tour where rarely do we kind of like make our way inland. We kind of follow that DOA Subhumans routing for our tours.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, and punk rock, it's always been weird pockets. So, towns that you thought were big, like when I remember when I was touring in the late 80s, like Chicago was not a great tour stop for just a hardcore band, even though Naked Reagan's not hardcore. Naked Reagan ran that town, and rightfully so. But like a hardcore band, you would never play there. Might play Milwaukee or Madison or Rockford, Illinois, which is inland, and Green Bay, but you didn't play Chicago. And that's just kind of how, because there were better promoters at the other place. So there was no one promoting it properly in Chicago, and I'm sure that was the same. Like Toronto, like that's so weird about Canada is like, I know, like you feel like Toronto is obviously the major city, but I don't remember going there. I remember going to Vancouver, and I remember when I started touring with Quicksand later, obviously went to Toronto and all the cities, but that never seemed like a huge tour stop either.
Yeah, Toronto, it is for certain stuff. Like, it's weird. I'm surprised Insted never played here. I think they must have.
Maybe they did, and I just forgot.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but it's also, if I'm thinking of, especially post Youth Crew, straight edge stuff, like we didn't really have a big scene for it in Toronto. Like there weren't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And like I'm trying to think of bands that MSI was straight edge, but like they were much more kind of in line with sort of like an AOD worldview than any sort
Right.
of like Youth of Today kind of worldview. And there were like a few other bands like prior to that were straight edge, but like yeah, we didn't really have too huge of a straight edge hardcore scene here. Montreal didn't really
Yeah.
either, not till later, I guess. Chokehold kind of like I think was when it
Yeah.
starts up here again.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, and there was definitely like being from LA, there was definitely a real connection to Edmonton and Vancouver, like that whole the coast. That just seemed like that seemed part of our scene. Those
Yeah.
like those guys in SNFU just seemed like 7 Seconds the same. They're from Reno, Nevada, but they just seem like an LA band.
I
But,
feel, and I feel like Vancouver has so much ties to Seattle, especially in the
yeah,
late 80s into the 90s,
for
that
sure.
there was like kind of like I guess that Seattle had like a much more kind of like hardcore capital H kind of hardcore scene around then, and I guess Vancouver has some sort of bands that are like do you remember who you guys would have played with in Vancouver? I'm real interested
Being
in that.
instead,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't remember, man. I just know yeah.
I gotta find flyers for that one.
Yeah, I mean, there was yeah, it's funny because yeah, that was a long time ago. I remember like a lot, but I don't remember if they even played Vancouver. I just remember what I'm saying is there was a real kinship between those cities, I guess, because there were bands, and that's all because of SNFU probably coming
Yeah,
down and DOA. Like we all forget, like DOA started this whole thing, the first touring band. It's amazing to think about. I don't think this is Black Flag, but it's just not. It's DOA, and then 6 months later, Black Flag.
yeah, they truly are the Rodney Dangerfield of punk in the sense they get no respect for what
They,
they did and what they're still doing, like what Joey's still do. Like how many opportunities do you have to see a band that like pioneered this thing that's still touring like they did when they pioneered this thing?
Right too. They did the first tour and they coined the name. I mean, they didn't make up the name hardcore, but they're the first one to put it
The
on their.
titular hardcore record,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the first physical, artifact that says hardcore on it that you can
yeah.
trace. There, yeah, I love that band, and I love Scott Crawford did a documentary about Joey. I forget what it's called, but it's pretty interesting.
Citizen Shithead or Citizen Joey, I believe.
Yeah, maybe it's something. It's
Citizen
it's
Keithley, yeah.
it's really talking about his kind of political life, but the way it ties in DOA to that's really interesting.
Yeah, the music side of them, like they're the band that you talk to Ian MacKaye, you talk to like Duff McKagan, you talk to I think Harley Flanagan even says the same thing. Like when they came through town with that four-piece lineup, it was like the greatest show to hit any place. And like they look like superheroes kind of getting into this van.
Yeah. Yeah. And Joey has such a rad style with his fucking shaky, like it's a fucking Dio is a great band, man. Hey, Canada's influenced a lot with just those three bands we mentioned, especially the SNFU and DOA. Like those two bands alone are just trailblazers for music.
Grade invented modern screamo,
Yeah.
propaganda.
Propaganda is another one. Yeah. Yeah.
We've got
Grade did invent Screamo.
yeah, Grade invented to me like obviously like there was that screamo stuff before, but like that whole like sort of pop punk fused with like I guess fall down on the floor and freak out emo.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were to me the band that kind of like fused that style first. I remember first time I saw them, it just was like it did not make sense to me. I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is
Yeah.
this?
Great how they were definitely on people's radar early as something that you had to see.
Yeah, they're one of those bands that I feel like just waited too long to pull the trigger on what label they're going to sign to. Like there was Victory was kind of courting them. Some
Yep.
Records was in the
Yeah.
act for a hot second there too.
I was working at Victory when we were talking about Great. I worked at Victory for a year, if you can believe it.
Wow,
Yeah.
that must have been. Is it true you had to wear like a uniform there, like a certain?
No, and I worked there.
Okay,
But that'd be amazing. I wouldn't put it past him. That'd be sick. Like, I wish. He's amazing. Like I know. I want to see the Tony Brummel turned out a punk podcast. I want to see
dude,
it.
I would love that. Would be insane. I've shown you. Have I shown you this? Fuck. Let me find it right now. Where did I move it? Oh, there it is. I've shown this off on this thing a couple times, but so I went to a store in Portland, and bought this Awake 7-inch, which is on Skeen Records, right?
Right.
But it's actually like a split release between Malcolm's TPOS, Trash American Style record label
Right.
from Connecticut, Skeen Records, and Victory, right? But
What?
yeah, but when Skeen pressed it, they only put their name on the back for some reason due to a miscommunication. Well, that did not sit well with one Tony Brummel. And when this poor kid decided to order this 7-inch, because the limited, like, I think it's like raspberry vinyl or something, or blood red vinyl, like was only available through Victory. Tony made sure to enclose a letter to this kid, saying to him about how like this was all fucked up by Skeen, and now he's got this new label called Victory, and he's just signed these new bands, Chicago's Billingate and Cleveland's Integrity, and his label's going to be so much better than Skeen, and it's on Victory letterhead.
God fucking bless him, dude. Like I said this the other day on a when I was talking to someone on another podcast, like he's a proper villain. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
he does.
and I kind of love like all his bravado and his crazy. It's a crazy thing to do. Like,
Well, it gets crazier because I think there's like, talking about something that should be a documentary or a deep dive on. Tony Brummel and the black Sharpie pen that he would use to write on the sleeves of records, like the Integrity third press of the 7-inch, where he wrote Victory's Biggest Mistake on the inner side of the sleeves. And on this one, he wrote, Jeff Spiegel, I will break your neck, sinner, which is the name of the guy who runs Skeen Records.
wow, man.
Yeah.
That is so fucking bold, dude.
It's so awesome. And then also,
one day we'll go down the rabbit hole of my Victory Records days because it's
I bet.
a lot of that. Wow.
Yeah, I bet there must be some. You probably have some great stories from like Ignite Days, Instead Tour. I could punish you. You didn't respond to my message I sent you. Maybe you didn't see it. Did you ever see Vegan Reich play a show?
Maybe. I was thinking about that. Instead played Memphis. And what's the other band from that? There's Vegan Reich.
Raid.
I think so. I'm going to find that. I'm pretty sure because the tour, I did the 89 tour and the 91 tour, and I wanted one of those tours were in Memphis, maybe 91, probably 91, and played a show in Memphis, and all those guys were there, and I think their bands played. And yeah.
Because there's Vegan Reich's the one from California, and then Raid's the one from Memphis.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so they played with Raid in Memphis. I don't think maybe I saw Vegan Reich. They definitely been on flyers. I've seen one.
I've seen the flyer. There's a flyer around. There's a photo. I think I even have a photo in like some old zine.
Vegan Reich. That's your band.
It's insane. It was funny.
Fuck, dude. Like
when Danbert was on from Chumbawamba, he was like, "Yeah, one time we played a show in Memphis, and people were handing out flyers for something called Vegan Reich, and we just couldn't believe it and threw it in their face." And I'm like, "Oh, you're on a comp with them."
I think it was kind of also a movement, Vegan Reich, too, right? Like it was more
Hardline's the movement.
Hardline's the movement. Okay, thanks. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that was an interesting Memphis, like, whoa, I don't know what was in the water there, but when they got that whole straight edge, they were like, okay, check this out. We're gonna make it this. It's like
the Hardline
extreme shit. Like, okay.
Hardline thing is real interesting because it's like as much as there's like an American hardcore influence, most of it kind of comes out of like British anarcho stuff. Like it's very
for sure. Oh yeah.
Like very political in that way, and like Statement, that weird one-man band was a hardline band too, apparently. Well,
I have all that stuff, and like the literature that comes with it, or the freaking like it's definitely the music is like the tool they're using to try to be Vegan Reich,
Yeah. And apparently like bands like would try and become part of the movement and they'd be turned down. Like it was like you had to be like approved to be a part of this thing, and it's a fascinating chapter.
It really is. It's really that's the thing about the straight edge hardcore. As it mutated and came off and sprinkled, it went all kinds of different directions, right? Including this. I don't know if you've seen this. The Straight Edge European, the book about European straight edge.
No, I knew that just came out, but I haven't seen it yet.
700 pages long.
Holy
Look at this thing. It's a brick, dude. I just picked it up because I was like, 700 pages on European straight edge. Like, okay, that's a deep fucking dive, man.
Deep dive. Like Like it's like 700 pages
It's 700 pages. Like
to
I
say
doubt
main.
I'll read it all because a
Yeah,
lot of it's just photos. But like I was at Rev HQ earlier and I just saw it. And I'm like, I got to buy this book. Like this is insane that there's a book. Someone, I mean, like you know how hard it is to put this together. How much work
that's
put
insane.
into this. So
I get.
I don't even know any European straight edge bands. I'm like, okay, I know there's a scene, but I don't. By then, I was probably long. I wasn't thinking about it. You know.
I find it like the European straight edge stuff is really interesting because like yeah there are European straight edge bands in every country
Yeah.
and like there are so many weird unique mutations of it like that H8000 scene in Belgium
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like some of the UK stuff there's
Youth
like
of the Day had a lot to do with that, man. Youth
oh
of the Day
definitely
is one of that's a band that needs to be talked about deeper as well because what they did, changing the whole direction of the scene for better or for worse, they're the ones who did it. Like they're the ones who toured, and when you came back to shows that they were playing with say Aggression, 7 Seconds, DI, the next time it's like Youth of the Day, Uniform Choice instead. You know what I mean? Like Uniform Choice predates Youth of the Day, but the shows became more and more straight edge until that's all they were was straight edge shows. And then I was out because I was like, this is like so stale, you know. And over in Europe, it's the same thing, right? They go around all of a sudden. There's a whole book of 700 pages that I bet you, if I went to the origins, it's Youth of the Day.
yeah Youth of the Day is the first band that really went out there and did sort of like a religious style mission of spreading the word of straight edge. Like, you know, Minor Threat did that West Coast tour. SSD played a little bit
We played
outside.
out in LA a couple times, but they
Yeah,
didn't tour really.
but it's like really youth today that's putting the X's on the back of their hands and like
Yeah.
going out and raise like directly confronting people every night. I think about Ray's place as a lead singer and having to wake up every day and be like, fuck, another show just with a bunch of people that are going to argue with me about about decisions I've made at different
Yeah.
points in my
Well,
life.
he boxed himself in. Like the more you have these rules for yourself, the more you become imprisoned by your own thing, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, and
Um,
I feel like it's also there. He's kind of like put it out there, like, and at first it was the straight edge thing, and then obviously it's a Christian thing after a while that he's the guy, and he's evangelical about these things in a way
yeah.
that you're saying like this is what spreads these things around. Like I did a spoiler for a future coming episode, but I did an episode with Greg Turkington, like Neil Hamburger,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was
Rad.
talking. It's insane. The episode is fucking insane. He wrote a letter to America's Hardcore about how much he thought they sucked and how generic they were, and how it made him not want to like punk and hardcore anymore. And Drew wrote him back and like was like, "Dude, please don't leave hardcore. Come hang out with us. We're not that bad." But anyway, there's a lot. It's a crazy episode, but what
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
when he was like a kind of like semi homeless as a kid with the flipper guys, he would go to the Krishna restaurants or the Krishna temple and get free food, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and it blew his mind when I told him that there was Krishna hardcore. He's like, "How did that happen?" And I'm like, "Well, there's
Yeah.
Youth of Today, and
It's interesting how that happened, right? Well, it's like the vegetarian thing always kind of made sense to me as being part of a straight edge kind of mantra. Like if you're looking at it, like we're not like I always looked at straight edge as almost as kind of a political thing. I wasn't really interested in like I'm not drinking because I don't want to get fucked up. I was more like I'm not drinking because I don't want to support this and I don't want to support the frat boys in my school. Like I hate that scene. So to me, it was real kind of that vibe. Um, but it makes sense if you're health conscious on it, that the vegan thing would come into it. And then you would be like, I'm being more pure, like, which is just, I mean, we'll get the rabbit hole. I used to have a fake straight edge band called The Pride, and it talked about purifying your blood. It was all straight edge songs and vegan songs, but it could be taken
could
as
be
a
very
power
sketchy.
band
Yeah, definitely.
because it was about purifying yourself and
Yeah,
having clean blood. What is you know?
yeah, definitely. It's like no, 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 no. We didn't mean it like that. Like
Yeah,
it's one of those things that like as soon as you kind of step away from the punk and hardcore thing, and you have to start trying to explain the nuance and the minutia, like a band like Vegan Reich, like you can't bring that name up at a party casually. Like, yeah, there's this band. Like, what's your favorite band? Well, I like this band Vegan Reich.
right. Like It's so fucking extreme, but like I kind of like, that's the thing I always like about I'm obviously an underground guy. Like I love the
Yeah.
underground counterculture scene, as do you. Like I always had like love those hardline guys for the moment that they had because I'm like, this is extreme. Like it's not for me, but the fact that you're like doing this, as long as you don't hurt anybody, like which is debatable,
Which is
right?
definitely something that did happen with the
Yeah,
hardline
like
stuff.
you got a little extreme, but why it was just like this crazy, like, it's like very revolutionary,
Oh,
like
it's definitely
we're
100%.
blowing up a McDonald's and we're gonna like we're gonna free all the factory farms, which I'm all for, but I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, like there are definitely, and like it's I don't know how many other places in music you have this where there are people that in punk and hardcore that put their money where their mouths are in a
Right.
way that puts their asses on their line and their freedom on their line. And it goes back to what you talk the Subhumans, and
Yeah.
him going to jail from the Subhumans for blowing up the munitions place
Yeah.
and the
That guy's the real deal,
porn
dude.
store, or like uh the singer from Game, who's in jail right now for some shit that went down at a munitions plant. And there's like these people that like kind of like take it to that extreme, like in the same way Gigi Allen takes it to extreme in a terrible way. But you have these people that are like, no, this is like real, and there's like people that are like really terrible and fucked up, like Gigi Allen, and there's people that are
Yeah.
like believe in this for real, and are willing to put their lives and their freedom on the line to stand by this shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's one of the things that makes this such a unique little culture that we're all
I
in.
agree. What's like crass.
Yeah,
Trust Records, I reached out to Steve. Like I reached out to them because I was like, me and Matt Pincus is the co-founder of Trust with me. Like we were like, we fucking love Crass. And we love Crass not just for the music, but the logo and the freaking messages and the whole thing, to your point where you're saying all in. And so I had this conversation, and then within like 30 minutes, it's like, with all due respect, I understand what you're saying. Cause like, there's no way to get a band like Crass over to us, even though I don't look at us like a major, like I don't look at us like a record label in the sense that they look at it, but there is like, their beliefs are so true that they're like, no, man, this is a commune. Like this is a whole community. And like, Crass is all equal for us, and we're never giving it up to anybody but us. Like
yeah. Like it's funny. You talk to some people about the crass politics, and they're like, it's not left in the traditional sense of left wing, right wing. It's more like it's true anarcho, and it's
yeah,
like,
totally,
and the
it's
stuff
real.
yeah, like the stuff that they like, it's like they believe this 100%. So it's not, yeah,
So you can't even be in like where we say as a record label, we don't like. There's no way for them to ever make that leap, no matter what we do. No matter if 100% of the profits we're going to fund whatever causes they wanted, which is something I suggested. Still can't make that leap.
yeah. There's like the other band that also refuses for different reasons, but I guess in a similar way, is Desperate Bicycles. They've always said that they'll never want anything they've done reissued because they don't want to take away from what's happening now, is their belief.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
I get it.
admirable. Like I'm glad, like
Yeah,
I still buy their records, and it's my favorite records of all time. And I would love other people to be able to share in that, and I
sure.
can understand it. But
I mean, it's tricky. We're obviously Trust Records is a reissue label, and so I look at it in the sense that like I'm always trying. I say this all the time. We're trying to put this in context and give it so someone down the line picks up our version and understands everything that went into doing this art. And so like I never look at it as like a reissue. Like, well, here it is again, repackaged. It's like it's repackaged for a purpose. It's supposed to be like, those deluxe packages have historical context to them because like with SNFU, like you'll pick up that SNFU package one day if you don't know who they are, and you'll know, and you'll be stoked on. If you're a kid 20 years from now and starts reading the SNFU story, like, and you can connect to Chai in some way, fucking sold. But you got to tell the story. Like we'll be dead and gone. Someone's got to leave some crumbs behind for the other people to follow.
well, because that's the reason we have classic rock, is because those people will never stop telling you that this shit that they did was important. And like there's going to be a trillion editions of their thing because they're going to keep reminding people that it's important. And I get that because you kind of have to do that. And you look at like the punk history, it's written by the bands that whether or not they had their own record label or just that they were around long enough, but they were the bands that were able to kind of be like, no, no, us, like we're the band, like pay, we're important. What we're doing is important. And so
Yeah.
like I feel like every band is important. So every band should have the opportunity to be placed in that context.
Agreed. And I think the thing that we have going for the punk rock and hardcore scene, part of it is because it's always counter to that classic rock mentality. There's a lot of kind of like, we're not doing that because that's what these people did. And I'll give you one perfect example is like Descendants. Obviously, I love the Descendants and we're all friends. Like we really wanted to get Descendants on Trust Records. And I kind of, they were playing Circle Jerks. I went out to Pittsburgh and met with Milo and Bill, who I love. They're amazing guys. And we started talking. And I was trying to explain to Billy what Phil Stevenson, like what we do at Trust, deluxe packages and all this stuff. And he looks at Milo and he goes, a coffee table book for a punk rock band? Like, who does everyone think they are? And I just was like, fucking respect. Because yes, you are a punk rocker, true and true. You're still looking at like, I'm anti that. Like we're doing this, So
This is said by one of the most brilliantly marketed and logoed bands of all time who have a documentary. Like I love Bill, but he and I definitely debate when we're around.
Yeah, sure. Well, but I think where he's coming from is the music is the music. Like
Yeah.
the music,
Yeah.
everything else is just like that's if I say, hey, we want to make a documentary, I think what I was talking about was taking Milo Goes to College and doing like kind of the SNFU treatment we just did to it because I'm like, let's get in there, man, and then he was like, of all like, who do you think we're not that fucking full of ourselves?
I think it's great to have a new master of some of this stuff too,
Agreed.
and
Agreed.
like especially some of these records that haven't been touched for a very long time, and
It's so important, especially if people are consuming the music through streaming, because like a lot of stuff that we champion and then remaster, if there's a version on streaming, it was most likely ripped from a CD.
yeah. And
So
I
it
wonder
has
how many
no
of those. Go on, sorry.
so it just has there's nothing in it. It's so compressed, so it's all quiet and you can't hear anything. And remastering is key to especially with this kind of music.
Well, especially because I like with a label like SSD, I don't know this for sure, so maybe I'm talking to my ass, but like I imagine those CDs were taken from the vinyl master, and then the vinyl master is then used to be the master for the MP3 reissue, like or the streaming service. Like you're saying, like you're really not getting something that's optimized for these platforms. And
Yeah. Well, I will say this: I think with SSD is an interesting one because it was not streaming, but then Al went and did Get It Away himself, like remastered it himself in his own way, and then put that up. And then when we did the other one, we when we did Kids and we remastered it like from the actual tapes. We weren't able to do that with Get It Away because the tapes don't exist. No one knows who they are. So that actually got taken from vinyl. There's a great guy out here that we work with called named Michael Graves, who's
not the same.
Not the Misfits, dude. That'd be amazing. Michael Graves is the best remaster guy. This guy Michael Graves, the cool Michael.
Politics
Graves.
are a little weird, but he's really good at remaster.
Man, can he remaster a record off vinyl? Like he's in corpse paint. Just his fucking MAGA hat on, like remaster. Dude, like, doesn't make it sound good. No, Michael's this guy who's just a fucking savant at like taking vinyl and being able to clean it and then rip it from like the most high-end stereo needle, like the most high-end turntable and needles, has like some like 20 to 30 different needles that he plays with to find the one that's going to pull out the most info from the grooves, and then puts it into a computer and manipulates it in a 3D model fucking remastering. It's so next level, and then spits out this product, which was for us was 7 Seconds New In, the original version, and SSD Get It Away. Those are from vinyl rips, not tapes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because like some of the stuff, like it's interesting. Like there's certain people that saw the worth in what they were doing in a way that they were archivists, and they were like, like Ian MacKaye. Like that's a perfect example. Like
perfect example, yeah.
But a lot of these people did not think what they were doing mattered, or thought that the stuff they did after this stuff was way better and way more important. So they tape over tapes or lose tapes, or it's just it's interesting the different approaches.
it wasn't, it's not commercially viable music, and anyone who whatever the stuff that they started, if they went to another space that was more mainstream, we'll say, like at that point they usually left that behind. It's like, oh, that's what I did, and now I'm here, and then only later in life kind of back and revisited it to care for, because, and I get it, dude. Like, I mean, I'm 55. I was in that scene like in the mid 80s, like just kids. Like no one's thinking like, oh shit, man, like one day this is gonna be, one day we're gonna be talking about Gorilla Biscuit's Start Today as like one of the quintessential great pieces of American music. And they're gonna tour and draw thousands of young kids playing a record that came out in '89. No one thought like that, but here we are with some of these records.
That record, though, it felt like that, the Operation Ivy energy. There's certain
Yeah.
records that felt like they came out and they must have consistently sold well. Like every generation that was kind of like coming into it was buying it. And still to this day, I imagine those records. Like I remember being at Lookout Records and then being like, oh yeah, Green Day is nothing compared to the Operation Ivy sales we have.
For the beginning, I imagine,
Well,
right?
this was even after Green Day blew up.
Oh, really?
This is like post Dookie kind of
Okay.
explosion. But they
I mean,
said,
Operation Ivy record's crucial. That is
yeah,
the one of the greatest records ever, and that's a good analogy made, because Gorilla Biscuits and Operation Ivy are same era and have the same energy. Like, and it shows because it's very true to who they were as people. When Walter's obviously the songwriter, and I'm guessing Lint Tim's the songwriter of Operation Ivy with Jesse, but like they're true blue, real lyrics and real spirit to the songs. You know what I mean? That's why those records still resonate, because they're truthful.
hmm yeah, they're like really raw, and I feel like there's something foundational about those records. Like you can kind of take those sounds as a kid and interpret them in a variety of ways, and they both kind of launch genres in their wake. Like that Gorilla
Yeah.
Biscuits record, right? Like that. I think sonically, that's ultimately more influential than any one Youth of Today recording.
Oh, 100, I agree. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's such a brilliant record. It really is. It's like almost the perfect heart. It's a perfect record. If you said, what's one record that represents the scene you came from, youth crew or whatever, that era, it'd have to be Gorilla Business Start Today. Like, because it's so fun and playful, and the song like Cats and Dogs is their vegetarian song, not like I got name a vegan rag song, but I imagine it's not called Cats and Dogs. Have all the luck.
No, we don't have to go down that path. We can definitely
Yeah.
talk, a whole hour about vegan right. But
Oh man.
instead, to me, will make the difference to me is the Ultimate Youth Crew 7-inch.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that. That's that record. It's weird how that came out. So basically, that record came out because Big Frank Harrison, who's a legendary figure down here, is no longer with us, had a
Rest in
record label
peace.
called Nemesis, and he was just starting it out. And yes, rest in peace. And he really championed. He loved Instead. He loved Uniform Choice, and a lot of reasons those bands had such big scenes in Southern California is he worked for Golden Voice, and they put them on all the shows. So like those bands were always opening with Bad Brains, and I saw Bad Brains when Instead opened, right, at the Fenders, and so it's that kind of thing. So there was kind of when he asked Instead to do it, it was kind of they they needed to do it out of respect for him, but I'm not sure they wanted to do it on Nemesis because they were looking at Revelation and some of these. They wanted to kind of align themselves with some of these, Revelation for sure, and so they were kind of like when they did it. And I was on tour with them when that record came out, and they were not happy with it. They just thought, but now it's perfect. Like to your
Yeah.
point, it's so good, and that song "Will Make the Difference" is a fucking banger, man. Like that's a great song. And that, but at the time, I don't think Kevin Instead was really like, oh, I'm so stoked on this. I think he was like, fuck, like this isn't what we wanted, and we just got to do it and move on to the Epitaph record. When I look back at your point, that's the record that defines Instead.
And I think that song, if that had come out on Revelation Records, would be like, not that it's like not regarded as like a classic song, but I think it would have been in that sort of Rev pantheon of like those just
Yeah,
sort of like, yeah, that stamp, that Rev star on the back of it type thing. And
yeah, I agree.
and I feel like the Nemesis thing positions it as definitely as like a California classic to me, but I can totally see why they would have wanted it on Rev and how it would have totally fit on
It would
Revelation.
have been better for what they were trying to be at that time. They need to be. I mean, they were tied to that scene, but they weren't on Rev, and I think that would have been the better move even than going to Epitaph. Although I understood why they went to Epitaph, and But yeah, man, it's just I agree.
Yeah, I kind of that's also that period that I love is that post Youth of Today American hardcore period where like all these like Youth of Today clone bands are popping off everywhere,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or like the answer to Youth of Today type thing is popping there, like the
That
front and
there was, by then I was long gone. But then I'd fled the scene. I was touring with Quicksand and was just like, because the straight edge thing, like I was saying earlier, like it just became like it's so overwhelming of like, dude, how many bands are there? Like, and like they're all great for being a band's fun, and I'm not dissing bands, but like a lot of it just became all kind of like, what is this? Like, who are these bands? There's too many. Like, they
yeah,
all have the kind of same kind of name.
the Walter like shift to Quicksand and like the inspiration that has on hardcore in both ways, right? Like I was talking about the Jamie Hatebreed, and it's from the Victory bio for Hatebreed for Satisfaction is Death of Desire. They say that Hatebreed was completely inspired by Jamie's hatred of Quicksand, and people
No
say,
way.
yeah,
That's amazing.
and people saying that Quicksand was a hardcore band, and he felt like Hatebreed he wanted to make a hardcore band that was everything that Quicksand wasn't to show people this
But a
is what
hardcore
hardcore.
band.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, and to his credit, he's right. Quicksand's not a hardcore band. They're post-hardcore band.
but I still like I
That's the
think,
genre.
but I feel like they are like I would still lump them in because like to me
Yeah,
like
for
but and I
sure.
think that's the best thing about it is like imagine influencing someone that much.
Yeah, negatively, like where you're
Yeah,
gonna be like, I love that. And I love
yeah,
Jamie, so I love and I like Hatebreed. So I think that I'm sure there was that era of hardcore that got really like what that became like almost what I call like Ozfest hardcore because all those bands ended up like on the Ozfest where it was
yeah,
like kind of metally based and very like kind of I don't for lack of better words, kind of UFC and look and feel. It's just kind of like we're fucking big dudes and here we are. Like that whole wave is kind of a counter of to your point what Quicksand and those bands were doing the softer stuff, even like Jawbox and all these bands that were from the 80s. Like that's and so those guys started a genre that's still going today and pretty successfully. It's cool. Quicksand influenced it.
yeah. That's the thing. It's like you can influence people through positive means or negative means, and you're still keeping this thing alive and spreading it. And so
But I will say this: when that Quicksand 7 inch came out, people's people were impressed.
oh
Like I remember getting on Walter's one of my dear friends. I just remember getting it and going like, I got the CD, I'm sure, and just being like, even Hypno Jam with Dan, like going, dude, this shit is fucking cool. But by then, like we're in our early 20s, and like I'm in love with like bands like Jane's Addiction and stuff, and like that kind of like that all that kind of music's creeping into the world, and the hardcore stuff's becoming, not as prevalent as it used to be. And then we just all kind of moved into that 90s direction, I guess.
yeah, like that's what I remember reading a comment from the singer of No Comment about how to him he wanted to make No Comment because he felt like hardcore at that time was just kind of dying out. Like everything was getting kind of generic, or so many bands were going crossover, and he wanted to make like a hardcore band again because it is like this sort of I guess it comes in ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, I mean, that's why we did Ignite. Like, I mean, Ignite, when Joe Foster and Brett and I started Ignite, that was in 1993. To me, it was like, hey, man, all this music around us is now Farside Game Face and this kind of stuff. Let's just do a Uniform Choice hardcore band and just have
yeah.
fun with it. Like, and then it's Ignite, whatever it is today, it has gone off. But like, that was a mentality, but it wasn't a negative reaction. Like, I feel some of those more aggressive hardcore bands where it was more of like, let's have fun and throw one of these bands out there and just see how that is. You
Yeah,
know?
because it's like the next evolution of that sort of uniform choice. Like I remember when a kid hearing Ignite, being like, "Oh, this is like uniform choice 2.0." Like he's
Yeah.
the similar sort of like approach to the vocal, a similar approach to like Southern California hardcore, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It was very, very intentional to
Yeah,
the point where like I was in for about 6 months because I just felt kind of like I wasn't, it was more of like what I just described to me and to those guys. They were like, no, this is a real band. Like we're doing band. We're like, we're gonna do this as a real band. Like, this is just our fun. Like, let's play some local shows and try to do a cool 7 inch band.
would you have sung for Pennywise eventually? Do you think?
No, there's no way to not have the chops, man. I will say this, like they definitely upgraded in vocal quality, getting Zoli in. Like that dude's a fucking operatic singer. No.
Zoli, one time the Misfits played Toronto, and
Yeah, he was part of it.
the other Michael Graves didn't show up because he was in jail, and Zoli came out. It was like a room full of people. Like they did this big build up, and he's wearing a hockey mask, and then it's just like, and
Who?
everybody's Zoli Tech. Yeah, the whole room, like who? Like he's got
Yeah.
blonde hair. Like everyone's like, he's blonde hair. Look at the fucking blonde. That doesn't make sense.
So fucking funny. Dude, that was a major thing. I remember like we saw him play here. I think they played the Palace, which holds about 1,000 here for that. Well, I think that's it. It was so funny. Like Zoli singing in the Misfits. And to me, it's like I love the Misfits. It's like, whoa, man, like maybe someone needs to take time out and figure out what kind of band you want because like nothing against Zoli, like he's not in it the way you guys need him to be. Like how far from Danzig have we gone? Where
We
it's just like,
we did a tour in Australia with Zoli Wise, and it
yeah.
was surreal. Like it was like collision of like my 14 and 15-year-old tastes at the same time, like on stage. It was awesome. Like I'm really glad I got to
I
see.
kind of like that record they did with him. Like
Yeah.
they don't celebrate it, but it was funny when because like they played a South by Southwest that I saw them at, and then they played this thing called K Rock Weenie Roast, which is like a summer thing with like huge bands headlining. And when it was Pennywise, it was literally Zoli. Like, sorry, Toronto. It was literally Zoli wearing the hat. Doing like he was Jim, but it was so it's like to most people there, it's like, oh, it's Pennywise, and everyone's just like, well, he's wearing like a uniform, like it's a fucking Pennywise uniform. Is that Fletcher? Did Fletcher go like, bro, you're gonna do this? You better
Hey,
look like Jim.
it was probably I hung out with Fletcher a lot on that tour, and I don't think I ever saw the two of them hanging out very much on
No,
that
but
tour.
dude, Fletcher's my guy, man. He's like, fuck. A
Yeah.
legend. I can sit down and do your Turned Out a Punk podcast and tell you Fletcher stories for probably 4 hours and still not run out. That guy's amazing.
Yeah, he's got some stories. He's got he's done some living. But
He's a full-on pirate. Years ago, we were doing this thing. We wanted to do a thing on Adult Swim. We had a kind of a connection there, and we had an animator friend of ours named Pete Conlin had this idea that we would animate Fletcher stories. So me and Chris Lisk and Fletcher and Pete went to a recording studio and got Fletcher drunk. Some of us got drunk too. And then and recorded for 2 hours just telling stories. And then Pete went and animated like maybe like a 2-minute teaser reel of one of them. I'll find the link. It's a hidden YouTube link. And I will send it to you. It's fucking brilliant. But we couldn't sell it because we were like, no, you don't understand. Like when we had ideas like Fat Mike will be a character and like Matt Skiba will be like a bat. Matt Skiba like fly into the sea sometimes as a bat and just take off. But we could not fucking win the pitch. But it's brilliant. I'll send it to you.
oh, I got to see that. Yeah, Fletcher like I think when Fletcher and Fat Mike are together, it's like kerosene in a fucking match. Like
Yeah,
it's just
dude.
like shit could go real weird, real
Bad combo.
quick.
Like, I wonder if Mike's going to be at the Punk Rock Museum Friday. I haven't seen him in a minute. He's a
Yeah,
fucking madman.
and I know he was a big SNFU fan too. He's like
Huge
another one of
fan.
those
Yeah.
guys.
I don't. He might not be in town, but I know he's a huge SNFU fan.
The mystery that I've not been able to get to the bottom of is Jason Priestley's fandom of SNFU. Do you know about
He's
this?
Canadian, right?
Yeah, and so there's a story that Chai told, and I brought it up with the bros, and they confirmed this part of the story that they played somewhere in LA, maybe it's the Whiskey, and Dave Smalley shows up with Jason Priestley because he's friends with Jason Priestley.
Oh, because of Christine McCarthy, right? Who dated Jason Priestley. She's a Boston hardcore. She's SSD. SSD connects that story.
That's crazy. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense now.
Right? That's her name, right? Christine, yeah.
Okay, and so so anyway, so he brings Jason Priestley backstage, and he's like, I saw you guys at the New Yorker Theater back in the day because he's Vancouver, right? And like he's
Yeah.
like, you guys were amazing. I used to have a mohawk back then, dyed
What?
blue. That's what he said. And at least Chai's version of the story that he told, and the Belky brothers backed this part up. But then there's another version of the story that Chai tells to some other people where a drink gets spilt, and then Chai winds up punching Jason Priestley in the nose, and then it's being
What?
carried out and says maybe they should call that show 9021 ow 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 as he's being dragged out. I don't know. The Belky brothers were kind of like coy about it, like, yeah, maybe that's true, maybe
I
not.
mean, it's the kind of story you want to live, whether it's true or false. You just kind of want it to be out there in the ether.
Yeah.
Like,
So I guess
people telling that story. It can't hurt.
We got to track down Jason Priestley and find out.
That's interesting. I wonder how I could get to Jason Priestley. I'll work on that. I'm gonna try to send him an SNFU box set.
Yes, see what happens if it comes back broken with a note being like, "Fuck you, my nose." Like my
Send him with a thing with that thing like should be a show called 9021 ow 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 ow.
Yeah, exactly. I'm making a video of it right now that I'm going to post, and I'm like going to tag Jason Priestley. So maybe if we do it on a bunch of different fronts, he's going to be like spurned into action.
That's funny.
And it could have been the Bare Naked Ladies, because that's really one of the things that put the Bare Naked Ladies on the map was Jason Priestley doing a video for them.
Jesus.
In America.
Yeah. That's funny. I used to work at nightclubs up here in LA and during that time, and one of them was Roxbury, the one that's from like the movie. And
oh yeah,
those people they would come. That was a scene. The 90210 kids are coming in like holding court up in the VIP room, like Jason Priestley, and like it's just so funny, man. It's such a different time.
You probably saw crazy shit at those clubs in that era.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you the craziest thing is. I tell the stories before, like, part of it was like OJ and Nicole came in those clubs sometimes. Like I would see them sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was a hang that would happen in LA on Monday nights at the Kibitz Room, which is a dive bar that's connected to Cantor's, which is a famous Jewish deli in LA. It's on Fairfax. Everyone knows it if you live here.
Yeah.
And on Monday nights, it was a karaoke night. This is like mid 90s, 94, whatever, 93. Like karaoke was a brand new thing. It wasn't like it is now. Like someone's like, dude, they do this karaoke thing over at the Kibitz Room, and there's this guy with these funny hats who's the host and he's fucking really crazy, sing songs, and people would go there. It'd be like a hang. When the OJ thing happened, when he allegedly murdered Nicole and Ron Goldman, the thing that freaked us all out is the guy who hosted the karaoke night was Kato Kalin.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, right? Boom. You're just like, wait a second.
We're karaoke
guy is lives with OJ? Like, what?
He rode that thing for a good few years after, right? Like he was hosting Talk Soup.
Poor guy. He's a really rad dude. Like I've always he's just kind of who he is. Like that's Kato. Like he can barely tie his shoes. Like what's he doing on the witness stand?
Was he like a secret punk or hardcore kid?
No, I don't think so. He just was like, this is like mid-90s, like LA doucheland, where he was like clubs and stuff. Like he definitely was not that I know of anyway.
Yeah. I've got like the other one I've always heard is a secret one that I've never been able, and he's from up here is what's his name from The Notebook?
Oh, Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
There's a legend that he ran into an American Nightmare show and busted a stage dive, but
there is that is I've heard that story too.
But I've heard that it's probably not true. And then
I mean,
John Brandon tells a story about having to like appear in a movie with Ryan Gosling at South by Southwest, and Ryan Gosling being very scared of him. So I don't know. It doesn't seem stage divey.
Next time you talk to John Brandon, I don't know if you know this story. Do you know John Brandon was at the last NWA show with Ice Cube in Detroit?
What? No, I did not know that.
Yes. We were, because he's on these circle jerk songs. Ask him to tell it. The moral of the story is like, that's the famous riot one when they did fuck the police, the FBI, and the cops come in and arrest them all. And that was the last show they did as that group. And Ice Cube quit soon after. And when John Brandon tells the story, he'll tell you, it's like, oh, I'm like, because I was like, wait, what? You were at the last NWA show? He goes, oh, I love that shit. He's like, it was me and my buddy who were the only white guys there. He's like, I love that shit, that NWA. Just like John Brandon. You're like, what? He goes, yeah.
John Brandon is what Nick Cave pretends to be.
Dude, maybe. I mean, John Brandon is fucking a treasure. He is a national treasure, man.
Yeah, like if he was in England, he would be like respected, and it kind of held up in the way they kind of did Marky Smith from the Fall.
Yeah, man,
right?
yeah. It's weird with him too, dude, because like it's so there was moments where he was gone after Laughing Hyenas. Well, obviously he was strung out, but like he did his rebirth and this negative approach and how revered he is, and like, and you realize like John Brannon is the fucking real deal. Like that dude is Detroit, like not just hardcore but music. Like he connects Iggy Pop to freaking Jack White.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like he's the guy. So a documentary about him would be fucking awesome,
Oh,
or
I'm telling you.
something just about him.
There is that negative approach documentary that came out,
Yeah,
and it's cool and stuff, but like you're right, like there's just something about, I say to him all the time, man, you got to do your Nick Cave record. Like you're like one with the
yeah, like
ballads.
yeah, kind of yeah. That's a good idea with that voice. Like
Oh, it's so, and
he's good.
he's lived it. Like, I don't mean this disparagingly because I've definitely followed more the Rollins path than, or tried to follow the Rollins path, ended up following more the John path. But like at the same time, Rollins is out doing Mac commercials, like John's washing dishes, and like he's
Dude,
like
he's
the real
yeah,
the real
he's
deal.
raw, dude. He's a feral cat, and he's like,
Yeah.
and I love like, I mean, this is just unique to him. The fact that Negative Approach and Easy Action are the same band, and they just play different sets, and he can just tour, and everyone wants him to. It's whether you're Thurston Moore or Keith Morris, you want John Brannon with you because it's a respect thing. Like those guys revere him, like he because he's it's because for obvious reasons.
And he's like, and he's a real dude, but
Yeah.
he's not damaged. Like he's still like a fun hang
Oh,
too.
he's
Like,
fucking funny too, dude. And
yeah, like
he's
Dinosaur Jr. takes him out. Like you're saying, like there's almost like probably like a competition. I know there's a competition because I was talking to someone recently who tried to bring them on tour and then was like, sorry, we got asked to do the Circle Jerks tour. We can't do it. It like there's like a lineup of bands that want to take, I both
yeah,
Easy Action or
they're both great.
oh
Like that's the thing about his type of hardcore that you get because you're a connoisseur of it. It's like obviously Negative Approach. I never saw him, but that era, the '83, tied down, all that stuff is fucking phenomenal. And then he goes into Laughing Hyenas world. And then I think it was I remember seeing him early when they got back together. It might have been their first reunion was a touch and go thing, maybe in Chicago, and I went for it. And from then on, that was probably 20. They're fucking fantastic, dude. Like
yeah.
his hardcore works as a John Brand in his 60s. It just works. Like it's as scary and frightening, even more so than it would be when he was a young kid.
Yeah, like it's funny because he gets off the stage and he's John. He's like funny. He's goofy. He's like but he gets on that stage and it's like that monster, like Alice Cooper style, like where Alice comes out when
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
on there, and it's just like you're saying, it's still cool and terrifying in the way it's supposed to be, even though
But you're
they're all
right.
normal adult people.
Yeah, we should pitch him. We should manage him, Damian. Like we should pitch
Oh, I
it. We should just
definitely.
manage. We should go give us John Brown and give us a year, and we're gonna do this solo record with you, and you're gonna be able to tour. You can still bring your guys. It can still be
Yeah,
Easy Action, but the
yeah.
band is just gonna be John Brandon, and then you're gonna do this thing that's kind of to your point, like a Nick Cave vibe. It would crush.
Oh my God, like if John sings like a song with like a string section on it and like a perfectly orchestrated, because he's got like that
Yeah,
like deep, like kind of like
it's a deep soulful Jones.
baritone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in the Jim Morrison vein, but it's just all fucking torn up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the stuff he'd sing about, like the lyrics, I think,
Oh,
yeah, he's my yeah, he's my guy. Like Mike Nine too from I Hate God. That's another guy that like, man, for the amount of living he's and the stuff these guys have gone through, it's like, yeah, you expect them to be kind of assholes, but they're still
God,
super
the
fucking
sweetest dude.
cool.
John Ransom's dude. He says, yeah, they're just, but that's kind of the beauty of it. It's like, what would you like? Those are good. John Rand's a professional musician and like a revered one, like that you would have never, I never would have anyway thought in like even Laughing Hyenas era. Like I saw Laughing Hyenas at Jabberjaw down the street. I like that band, but it was not a great show. Like no one left there going like, oh man, the fucking to the moon with Laughing
Yeah,
Hyenas. They were like, John's in bad shape.
yeah.
And to see him have this rebirth to get, he's not even sober. He's just not strung out and just be so real and raw, but really fucking sweet and just a really kind human being, like with this kind of persona he has that he leans into. Like,
It's interesting how like you bring up John's sobriety and or lack thereof, and there's like a bunch of guys, and I feel like I'm not talking at a school because these guys are all open about their uses of stuff in
yeah,
the
yeah.
past, but like Jerry A's another guy. Mike Nine is another guy, and these guys are like dudes that fucked with heavy shit, like, and are open about their struggles being strung out with stuff. And none of them are sober, but yet all of them are able to kind of now have a healthy relationship with these non as
Yeah.
threatening substances.
That is a fucking tough dance, man, to I think for people to do. So the fact that those guys could do it is hats off, and hope they keep it up. Because like I hang with John all the time on these circle jerk tours. Like we drink some beers together, have some whiskey, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like tells me funny stories like that NWA one where I just leave there going like, who is this fucking Forrest Gump of fucking the music world,
I,
man?
I stayed up one night with him like all night, and like I don't drink, but like so I think I nursed like 2 beers in the course of time that he had like a lot more than 2 beers,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's just like the two of us, and it's just like, damn, this dude is as
He's,
real as they come.
he's hard style, man.
Yeah.
We're lucky to have him.
Well, I'm lucky to have you here,
Yeah,
Joe. We
that
got
was
to do
fun,
this
dude.
again, man.
Thank you, and thanks for all the support with this SNFU thing. It's been you're a huge part of it behind the scenes, and we're going to share some stuff with people soon. And like that video is great, and it was important. It was really important for us to like kind of make sure that there was Canadian DNA on this, and you're our guy. And so I really appreciate you like helping us keep this kind of true to what it needs to be, which is a fucking one of the greatest Canadian bands of all time.
100% agree with you. Thank you for that. And like, yeah, I feel like any opportunity to kind of like champion these types of bands that are like undersung. Like I'm happy that these bands are being done right by. You know, and like Al, rest in peace. Like I feel like if you were able to navigate Al in a business capacity, like that's the golden stamp of approval for trust in terms of dealing with people.
Yeah, appreciate it. And you're not wrong. Al gave us we went to college with Al. Al gave us
Yes.
our degree. We learned under Al Baril, and like it was a learning experience.
Well, rest in peace, Al. But anytime you want to come back, Joe, and talk about, I want to hear more victory stories. I want to hear
Oh, I
more
got him
Insted
for
tour
you.
stories.
Let's do it, brother. It'd be great. So, all right, man.
All right. I just stopped the live stream and now I'm